Jinkies and zoinks and other words I don't know things about Scooby-Doo. My name is Ryan Oleopoulos, and welcome to a new episode of the Fake Nerd Podcast, episode 191. I'm joined with my best buds in the world, Brandon T. McClure over there.
Hi.
Sparks right next to me, and I got Ben Magnet up there.
I'm sad.
Can we title this episode Jinkies and Oh Boy?
Jinkies and Oh Boy, everyone's favorite Scooby-Doo phrase, oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. So yeah, welcome.
You're sad, Ben?
You're sad?
Yeah,
Why are you sad? Is it because of the Giants?
I finished Evangelion.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I haven't watched the end of Evangelion the movie yet, but oh boy,
Hey,
I'm
Dan,
sad.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
And also, last night, Sparks, for all that Giants crap, screw you.
I didn't start it, to be fair.
I didn't say anything.
Exactly.
Did I start it? No.
Exactly.
Travis started it.
Then
Travis
saying
is sorry.
anything, and that makes you an accomplice.
We played, for those of you who don't know, we played some video games last night. Battlefront 2, the Ewok mission, and Ben's headset died. So we said all sorts of things while he couldn't speak.
Just griefed him. Couldn't do a thing about it.
I could.
We trolled him so hard, Ryan had to join us.
Yeah, I wasn't playing, and then I got like 5 texts from Ben, and I'm like, all right, what's going on? We're here reviewing Scoob this week.
Yeah, let's talk about our weeks. Ben, you already said Evangelion, so I figure you should probably go first.
Besides finishing Neon Genesis Evangelion, I haven't really done a whole lot. My brother and I were continuing our trek through Dark Souls. We just got to the Archdragon Peak yesterday. So we beat the Untended Graves, and we also beat the Grand Archives, both of us, on both of our save files. So now we stopped at the Archdragon Peaks, and I don't know if you guys seen, but on my Instagram, there's this great picture of both of our avatars praising the sun. Like, cause praise the sun!
Solaire.
Oh my God. I cannot. You guys have no idea how happy I was to find that emote in Castle Lothric. Because once I found it, because I've been wanting that emote the whole time, I was like, you know what, I'm going to try and find it organically, but if I go through most of the game, I'm just going to look it up online. And then we found it. I got the Praise the Sun emote. I joined the Covenant. I'm like, praise the sun. I don't effing care anymore. Praise the sun!
Ben, one day we'll play Dark Souls, the original, and you'll discover what makes Solaire just a sweet, sweet sun boy.
Just a sweet, sweet sun boy.
Sweet sun boy.
But yeah, besides that, after playing through Dark Souls, well, as far as I am through Dark Souls 3, I've already loved the game. I think the game is great. I'm actually would like to get into the original Dark Souls because luckily there's a remastered version of Dark Souls 1. And I love that game. I love Dark Souls 3. I love it a lot. I mean, it's tough. It is tough, but it's also fair. And I know people are saying it's like, oh, but Ben, you're playing co-op. That's the easy way to play Dark Souls. It's like, but it's more fun. I'm playing with my brother. My brother and I are having a grand old time, and we're kicking bosses' asses left and right. It's great.
Video games are meant to be fun.
Yeah, they are.
Play them because they're fun.
Yeah.
Like, I remember playing while I was playing Jedi Fallen Order. There were times I almost rage quit because there were things that was just ticking me off so much that I'm like, I don't want to play this anymore. But with Dark Souls 3, one of the quote unquote hardest games ever made, I'm like, I want to play this. This is fun. I actually want to explore more. I want to look, probably because Dark Souls 3, the more you explore, the more items you find that actually do stuff instead of Jedi Fallen Order, which is just all cosmetic.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, Dark Souls, yes, it is hard and difficult, but it is never unbeatable. It is not an unbeatable game. Most people who like Dark Souls have beaten it multiple times because the challenge is there. Much like old school NES games, like there are difficulties. Like the original Castlevania games, you get hit and you die, and you start over from the very beginning again.
Oh God, Contra?
It's just channeling old school games again, but being like, no difficulty. We're not going to tell you what to do. Just get good,
dude. I cannot tell you how hard the original Mega Man game is. Like once you get to Wily's Castle and you fight the Yellow Demon, that requires pixel perfect jumping.
Yeah.
There used to be a joke back in the late 80s, early 90s saying that a game was Nintendo hard because you had to really get good at those games to progress them.
Lets you rewind when you screw up.
That's the cheatiest thing I've heard. That's like, that ruins that game. That's like not even fun. I would never play it. First of all, I'll never play the Switch version of that game because that's the lowest quality version you could play. But
Dark Souls?
The fun of that game is getting good and like, it's like, oops, no, just rewind.
Wait, are we talking Dark Souls or Mega Man? Because I totally used the
Mega Man.
rewind feature on Mega Man.
Mega Man.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Dark Souls.
No, Mega Man
Oh.
allows you to rewind the.
Oh, the new
Yeah.
game. Oh, well, that's a feature in the game. That's fine.
No,
I'm talking
like
the original
Legacy
Mega Man on
Collection.
the Switch.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah,
You can
right. The Legacy Collection. There's a rewind feature, so if you miss a jump that you should have made, you could rewind without losing a life.
No, that's not how games. That's so silly. That's cool.
Right.
It's like, have
It's
everything-
supposed to be fun.
yes, they're supposed to be fun. Just have your hand held for everything and never accomplish anything on your own. It's fine.
Funny enough, Ryan, I actually wrote an article about using the rewind feature, and I mentioned you in it.
Did you really?
Yeah,
In a positive way or a negative way? Because I
no,
love
in a
both.
positive way, because
Okay,
you're
cool.
actually absolutely right. Using the rewind feature is kind of like cheating the game a little bit.
And again, yes, if you want to use it, that's totally fine. But like that game, when a game originally came out, you just have to be really good at it.
You have to
Like
be good.
now, you can literally cheat to beat it, and I'm just like, that's cool. That's not a version I'm ever gonna play, personally.
Yeah, no, but I
you can
mentioned
play it, just not use it.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I did mention. But going back to Dark Souls, I cannot wait till cons open up again because there's this one T-shirt that Shark Robot has called the Get Good Gym, which has the picture of the knight from Dark Souls 3 like lifting weights, and I could finally get that T-shirt now because I'm like, I know what this means. I understand it.
I'm so happy that because I know you played Fallen Order, but like you played that Dark Souls game, so you know and you really like them. So I'm really excited for you to venture into these type of games that are like very, very hard and just very like just see you like games like Mega Man. Mega Man and Dark Souls are actually very similar in a lot of ways.
They are. They really are.
And I've come to realize I like a lot of retro games because I was playing an old school Castlevania game earlier this week, and it's really hard, and I was getting really frustrated. But I didn't rewind or anything. I just quit like a baby.
No, but God, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. Shoot. Oh yeah, Bloodborne's next.
Cool.
No, that was mostly for Ryan because I know Ryan's a huge Bloodborne fan, and my brother is saying once we beat Dark Souls 3, he wants me to go get Bloodborne so we can co-op on that one too.
I will make time.
Now
do that.
you'll keep saying that it's next. So you'll keep saying that it's next until we berate you enough to actually make it next. Right? Just like Evangelion?
Yes, but I think the trajectory is Dark Souls 2 Bloodborne because he has his brother involved. We're not peer pressuring him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. What else?
That's pretty much it. I did my live show with Michael and Rachel for Downright Yuri yesterday. That was our last one because we finished Dragon's Wrath. We might do another show later down the line talking about her first book, The Lost Noble. But besides that, I didn't do much this week. I just watched Evangelion. That's it. I watched Evangelion and played Dark Souls yesterday. That's all I did.
I think you guys should do a first book. By the way, since you brought up Downright, they're doing their 60th episode today with their milestone giveaway. So congrats to them.
Yeah, congrats to them. We're actually doing it right now, which is probably why nobody is watching us right now.
Yay!
All our friends are there.
No, we as I always say, we do this for us, not for them.
Mm-hmm.
We're also mainly an audio, but not live thing. This is somewhat new to us, so I don't expect us to have, everyone in the world.
The ending of Evangelion messed up, right?
Yeah. I cannot wait to watch like the actual movie end of Evangelion so I could get a somewhat resemblance of what the heck is going on. Because I was talking to Brandon before we started recording.
Somewhat, because you're still not going to get explained.
Oh, we were talking a little bit of like what the heck was, because I thought that Shinji was, because I figured that the whole
let's not get too far into spoilers for people who haven't seen it, because I do think there are some things that I kind of look at like, okay, it's been far enough away that spoilers really shouldn't matter, but this is something that I'm like, I'm grateful that nobody spoiled what the ending of that show was.
Yeah, me too.
And because of that, I was able to. I don't feel like if I had known, I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much.
Mm-hmm.
It's purely just by happenstance that I never knew what it was about. But I told you, not spoiling the movie, I told you what the ending of the show was saying.
Yeah.
And you were like, what?
Yeah, you were telling me what the ending show, what actually like the end of the show was, because I was thinking it was something completely different.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, because I'm rewatching Evangelion as of this week, I'm rewatching the old anime from 1997 because I have it on DVD and I wanted to. And parts of that are super nostalgic, and parts of that are super dated. And so there's a good chance I'm gonna dip into the Netflix one after. But it sounds like we need to have an Evangelion discussion at some point. I don't know if that's necessarily a special, but yeah.
You already know where I stand.
You never want that.
I think we can.
No anime contact podcast. This is what you said when we started.
You're right. You know, like exactly one day before I joined the podcast, I was like, I never want to talk about anime in my life. Never once. And then I talked about Broly, and then everything's downhill from there. It's just
I think that is something that I'd like to do.
I would love to
have
do
an in-depth talk about Evangelion. So stay tuned. We'll see what happens there.
I love Neon Justice Evangelion, even though it makes me sad.
Who wants to go next?
I'll do it.
Ryan.
I did so much video game stuff this week. One, because I got a new computer, which has just changed my life in so many ways. Did you guys know that even if you have good internet, if your computer sucks, your internet's still going to suck? Did you guys know that? I did, but I didn't realize it because I have a new computer and my internet has never been faster ever. And I'm downloading things like, bam, I just downloaded 12 games when I said that just now, just like that. And I'm just having a great time playing games on ultra high settings. And I'm just like, oh, people say money can't buy happiness. You're wrong. You're a liar. Great resolution. So the first thing I did, I beat Assassin's Creed Odyssey because with Valhalla coming out, it made me want to go back and play the games I haven't beat. So I played a lot of that and I beat it, and it ends really, really well. And the thing I like about it is the modern Assassin's Creed games are very much like The Witcher. They're open world RPGs with choices. You can be good, evil, kill people, not kill people. The final battle in that game, you don't have to fight it. I didn't fight it. I talked the villain out of being a villain, and now we're homies, and that's the end of the game. And I'm like, I didn't expect that for a game that's all about murder. I love it. It's so good. And now I'm going to go back and beat Origins because I also never beat Origins. I have this mistake, unless it's called The Witcher. I start these 100-hour RPGs and I don't beat them. So I'm going to go and finish Origins because it actually is the sequel to Odyssey. Odyssey is the prequel, even though it came out after. So now with more context, I'm going to go back to the older but newer game and then beat that game. And then I'll have Valhalla all ready for me. Hey guys, Assassin's Creed's pretty cool. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Hold on, I lost my thing. Oh, I lost it. It's gone. I've lost it. I had a folder full of all my notes. I remember what I was talking about. It's cool.
Is in you recently deleted?
Here, yes. Did I delete it? I think I deleted it. I sure did. I deleted it. Oh, cool. Thanks, Sparks. So I watched a couple episodes of an anime called Future-Avengers. It is created by Madhouse Studio, and they make shows like Hunter x Hunter and One Punch Man. So the animation's really good. This is the same. The people behind it are the same people that worked on the animes from like a couple years ago, like the Blade anime, the X-Men anime, and those anime are very Japanimation. Like Wolverine has crazy hair; it's very stylized. Whereas this Future Avengers is very more. It's a little more subdued. It's a little kind of more traditional anime. And it features a bunch of teenagers who work for Hydra, and then the Avengers like save them and they join the Avengers. So it still has a lot of anime tropes, but it heavily features all the Avengers in really interesting ways. A lot of the voice cast is from various incarnations too. So you'll recognize a lot of characters. But what I like about it is it messes with a lot of the villains in interesting ways. Because like you can't mess with Iron Man too much when he's Iron Man, but you can do a lot of fun things with the Green Goblin, right? So there's an episode where the Green Goblin steals the Hulkbuster, and he has to fight the Avengers and the Hulkbuster as a Green Goblin, and that's just the whole idea I've never seen in a comic. And it's every episode's like fun little idea with that. They do something with Iron Fist that's really fun, and I thought it's on Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. The second season is on now Disney Plus, so I'm gonna watch that. I think it's pretty good. If you guys want some anime Avengers, I highly recommend it.
I just added it to my queue.
Cool. I think the first episode's a solid pilot. Like if you don't like the first episode, it's indicative of the rest of the series. I started watching What We Do in the Shadows, the television show.
Oh, I watched that too.
I love that movie. And I didn't know going into the show how much Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clements were involved. They're involved all the way through. They directed and wrote the pilot, and Jermaine directs a lot of the episodes. Taika's a little less involved, but he did write some of the episodes. It feels 100% like that movie. It is an exact extension of that show just in America, and it's really, really funny. And the takes of, instead of it being like more European, being it or in London being a more American, it's really good, and the cameos are really solid. I'm very excited about that show.
Did you watch this week's episode, Ryan?
No, I'm behind. I just started it. I watched like 3 episodes.
Can I tell you about it a little bit? Like who cameos? Okay. Fine.
No, because a cameo is supposed to be special and important, and I want to know. Okay. I'm gonna watch it myself. I like that you're excited about it. So with my new computer, I downloaded lots of games that I've never been able to play before, and I'm gonna start streaming them very soon. Skyrim's one of the games, even though that game's 10 years old. I downloaded a thing that has 140 mods on it. So I'm going to play Skyrim with 140 mods. So that game's going to be wowzers, hopefully.
It's going to be Randy Savage as one of the dragons.
It's going to be Macho Man Randy Savage.
More Tom
Okay, I have a couple things.
I know you have.
Then hold on. I have MK Shaolin Monks for the future of Basement Arcade. I have Yu Yu Hakusho Dark Tournament, which is a Dragon Ball Z-esque fighting game with Yu Yu Hakusho. Got that one. I have the Neon Genesis Evangelion fan-made fighting game that has every single angel and every single Evangelion in it. I showed you guys some pictures of it. I'm very excited about that. And mostly for Sparks, I know you guys know about this game, but a game called Control came out last year, and it was a game of the year for a lot of people. It came out on all the consoles, but it runs very poorly on consoles. It is a graphics-intensive game for PCs, so neither of us played it because we wanted to wait. Now that I have a PC, I was able to get it for half off plus a $10 discount, so I got it for $10, and that game's new. So I'm going to start playing that game next week, and I'm so excited because I've been wanting to play that game for like 6 months. And I'm going to start playing that next week. And I'm just like, I'm so excited for streaming video games. And I think that's all I did this week. Pow.
When you said Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks, I loved that game.
Yep.
I thought that game was really great.
So did I.
I still have it on the PS2. Man,
I wish if PS2 capturing was a lot easier, because PlayStation makes it really hard to capture stuff. Like Xbox makes it easy because it's basically a PC. PlayStation, except for the PS4, is really hard. So if you had it on Xbox, we can make it a little easier. But I got it on PC, so we're okay. The last thing I actually did was I re-downloaded the Mass Effect. Mass Effect 2 is my favorite game, and I'm going to start replaying through all those because there was a huge fan-made texture pack that came out. Mass Effect's now 10 years old. A huge texture pack that makes the game look like a next-gen game almost. Like all the textures, all the resolutions are all like super high def. And I started playing it just a little bit yesterday to test it, and it looks like a completely different game. Like, it's remarkable, and I'm so excited to play this game with like a fresh coat of paint because that remaster is happening eventually. I guarantee it. It's gonna happen eventually. I've wanted it for 3 years on my wish list. I haven't gotten it yet, you sons of bitches. So I'm just gonna do it myself. So that's my week. Just lots of video games.
Very cool. Sparks, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I might as well. Most of my week was dedicated to, like, the whole front half of my week was dedicated to finals. Was dedicated to school. I had very little time in between. It was a lot of late nights, some all-nighters. But that's all over now, which is nice. So, but after that, I did Evangelion, which I already mentioned. We watched our weekly Motherland and Harley Quinn. Both still solid.
Yes.
Harley Quinn in particular, really good episode.
Yeah, man, that show continues to surprise me, to be like how bonkers, like wacky the comedy is, but also still being really sweet and emotional.
Yeah,
like it rides that line like really hard, and it's like these guys just know what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm thinking back on like when we were first talking about the Harley Quinn show before there was even a trailer, and it was just kind of like, yeah, okay, this is not the show I thought we were going to get out of.
This is not. If this is what the comics is, it's like the comics are like really toned down, because this is like straight up just like every episode is really rated R in like fun ways.
Yeah.
I've judging by just the brief I've seen of it, it's more indicative. It's like the Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti turned up to 11.
Yeah.
And the Sam Humphries turned up to 17, because Sam Humphries has toned it down quite a bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something else. Really enjoyable though. I watched a little bit more. I caught up on
real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just something on I don't want to spoil it, but something really incredible happened on Harley Quinn that we didn't think was going to happen. And it was a really, really great moment between two characters.
So I'll say like we thought it was going to happen, but then so much more other things happened that we like. Okay, I guess they're just not going to do that.
Yeah.
I think
And
I'm not
then
going to say it.
And then they pull a rug, and you're like, "This is awesome."
And I like the way they do it too.
Yeah.
Based on your guys' recommendations every week on the show, I'm going to buy the DVD because I want to watch it.
Of Harley Quinn?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm not sure. Is Harley Quinn coming to HBO Max?
Yes.
I know most of the DC Universe stuff is, so isn't Harley Quinn?
Yes, because I saw an interview.
Because if most people are going to end up with HBO Max, you might just want to wait.
Kaylee Cuoco did an interview saying Harley Quinn is going to be on HBO Max.
Okay, so so I don't know.
Wait.
Because that's only 2 weeks away. Wow, that's only 2 weeks away. Anyway, besides that, I caught up on Mrs. America with Megan. She's also halfway through season 3 of Community at this point. So that's been fun.
Season.
That's been fun to go back to. You can really start to see where Chevy Chase starts not caring.
Yeah.
What season is that? You said 3?
3.
Yeah. Harley Quinn's appearing on Sci-Fi Channel soon.
Oh yeah.
Heavily edited, but you could watch it for free if you want to watch it.
Now, I want to real quickly touch on Community because Zara also went through all the Community recently, and I caught a bit of season 4 because I whenever I rewatch Community, I stop at 3 and I start over. But in season 4, I forget that there's actually a really good episode for Chevy Chase, and it's the one where he tells Jeff to kind of lay off of Britta, like she tries really hard, and I was like, oh damn, Chevy actually had a good run in season 4.
Yeah, there are like I remember thinking about how bland the show was based around the concept of like the show when it was initially started was so very clearly sold on the idea of Joel McHale and Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
And like they're two characters at the center of it. And they were far more like baseline and not eccentric and not pushed to extremes. Not really in compared to where the show takes them. And I forgot that like Chevy was given a lot of room to like do things that I genuinely like at times. And it sucks that like there was so much shitty stuff behind the background. And I wonder at a certain point how much of it just became like, maybe like, I mean, there's some things that we know that happen behind the scenes that like, yeah, Chevy's totally at fault for it, but also maybe just him and Dan Harmon were never the right fit.
As someone who's listened to every single Harmontown episode where he talks about Chevy a lot, there came a point where they did just not get along anymore.
Right.
And like Chevy being who he is didn't make that any easier. So just like it just on set, I was just like, oh boy, it's another day.
Yeah, but that also just like I wonder if like Chevy Chase's downfall wouldn't have been so heavy laden with issues.
Yes.
Like it would have been like Chevy's got some outdated ideas about, you know, women and racism, but like outside of that, it might not have been quite as dramatic of a downfall of a celebrity if he had been in a place where he jived more with the comedy. I just don't think Harmon's comedy is Chevy's comedy.
No.
And rarely
Fletch is not his comedy.
And a few times in the show, usually when Dan Harmon didn't write or direct the episode, Chevy seems to meld into the show better.
Mm-hmm. Well, you hear it a lot because they've talked about it that Chevy just didn't get Dan Harmon.
Yeah.
Like he just didn't understand what Dan Harmon was doing.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, like, you know, because I haven't revisited the show since it was originally on. This is my first time going back to it, and it's just like in hindsight, going, you know, I don't know that Chevy was as at fault as I perceived it to be for
it's not a good fit.
For like his issues with the show. I think more of it is just like this is just not creatively right.
So Zara has Gilmore Girls. She watches Gilmore Girls religiously. It's constantly on a loop. You know, she once we're done with season 7, we go back to season 1, episode 1, and start all over. For me, for a very long time, that was Community, and I would just put on Community on a loop. I've seen that show about 10 times front and back. Just the first 3 seasons. I haven't seen the last 3 seasons in quite a while, but those first 3 seasons. Once season 3, episode 26 is done, season 1, episode 1, start again.
Yeah, I just wasn't that way about Community. I left. I think when it was still on, I'd rewatched 1 through 3 at some point.
Mm-hmm. Maybe
even 1 through 4. I want to say when it was still airing like 5 and 6.
Yeah.
But after it was over, I never went back. So it's just
I think it's still my favorite comedy personally. Every time I watch it, I get something new out of it.
besides that, I watched another new episode of Brand New Animal, and Trigger is starting to show its hand on where the kind of like Beastmen were trying to save the world and Gurren Lagann kind of twist might be coming from. Mm-hmm. I don't mean the exact same thing, but a similar type of thing seems to be rearing its head in the show, which is cool. And past that, I started some Assassin's Creed 2, playing through that, trying to now catch up on the Xbox to where I was when I used to be playing it on the PS3. And a lot of other video gaming with everybody. But that's been mostly it. A lot of just slowly easing into a world of media.
It's funny, like the last couple of weeks, because like he got like a new external hard drive, I got a new external hard drive, and I also just got a new computer. We've downloaded so many games off like Xbox Game Pass or games that we already own through PS Plus. I felt like we're like Smaug hoarding games. It's like one day we're gonna play all of these games, because like there's a point where I saw you download this and I saw Mike download this, and it's like, man, we have so many games. Oh my god,
yeah,
it's so good.
I will put a spotlight on Destiny 2. Travis and Pi, friends of ours, we're all playing through the old campaign that initially was the opening of Destiny 2 together. And we've gotten a pretty deep ways into that. And I gotta say, like, I'm really jazzed about it now.
Yeah.
Like going back into the lore and the story, and like Destiny 2 had a really strong opening and I'm really enjoying it, which is nice. It's nice to go back to a game that I enjoy playing so much.
Yeah. I mean, you guys know, but like the people at home, Destiny is made by the guys who made Halo, and the first Destiny was a big disappointment on the narrative sense. Like everything was off on different websites on your phone. Like there was like almost no real lore in the game. Destiny 2 corrected that 100%. There's a Halo campaign. There's lore in the game. There's so much stuff to do. Like they've really turned that game around in a great way. And I'm excited everyone's in on it now.
Yeah,
excited to go back to it.
My turn, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I just want to quickly say I bought a new phone. That has nothing to do with the show or anything really. I'm just proud of myself that I did a big boy thing.
Right? I spent a lot of money, and I was like, I never do this. It's the only time it's going to happen. It feels good.
But it's not even that I spent a lot of money. It's like I spent a lot of money on a thing I've wanted for so long, on a responsible thing that isn't a waste. It's a new phone. I needed a new phone.
Yeah.
I bought the new iPhone SE, which is basically the 11 but cheaper.
Yeah, I think I got that too.
It's about $500 outside of the $1,100. So I was like, yeah, fuck it. Oops,
yeah,
sorry. Early for an F-bomb.
Nah.
Yeah. Anyway, I just proud of myself for doing that. Ryan, you were not able to do Downright Annoyed with Movies this week.
No, but I know someone who did.
I filled in for you.
I watched some of it. I didn't watch the movie yet, so I'm gonna watch it this week. So I didn't watch the whole thing.
Yeah, that's fine. Michael Carl's Downright Nerdy podcast and Jackson of Bored and Annoyed. I asked them, like, I've seen the movie. If Ryan can't do it, if you guys need an extra, like, I don't mind. So this was like 2 hours before they were ready to go. So I put in that movie again, rewatched it, and I enjoyed it. That movie is awesome.
It's a good movie.
I haven't seen that movie since college. That movie is great.
I'm more of a fan of Disturbia starring Shia LaBeouf.
We brought that up. I brought that up actually in the thing.
Excuse me.
And I want to real quickly say, I said it on Downright Annoyed with Movies, but I want to say the two Hitchcock remakes, the two prominent ones, Psycho and Rear Window, not good movies. However, the Psycho remake starring Vince Vaughn as Patrick Bateman, Vince Vaughn is really good. And
American Psycho up in your brain? Dancing with an axe?
Yeah, that's fair. Who's the bad guy in Psycho?
What's the name of the hotel?
Bates. Patrick Bates.
Norman Bates.
Norman Bates. Thank you.
Don't help him.
No, Ben, help me. Yes, thank you. Norman Bates. So Vince Vaughn is really good in that movie. I truly think that Vince Vaughn as Norman Bates is really good. And Rear Window stars Christopher Reeves in one of his final performances post-accident. Mm-hmm. And I think he's really good in that movie also. Those movies are not good, but if you can sit through them for the performances by those two actors, I think they're worth it. However, watch the originals because those are masterpieces.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of research for a thing, so I decided to rewatch Atlantis: The Lost Empire because hell, that movie's awesome.
Oh hell yeah, it is.
Did they find it?
The Disney movie Atlantis: The Lost Empire?
Did they find the Empire?
Yeah, they found it. The whole movie's about the.
I'm joking, Brady.
I know.
The Lost Empire. Did they find it?
Yeah, I think that movie is. I think that movie is excellent. The animation is gorgeous. There's really not a whole lot I could say about those movies. I just watched two really great movies this weekend. This week, and Atlantis is just so good. Anyway, but I was in an adventure mood all week because of Atlantis. So I finished Uncharted 3 finally.
Good.
It's been a long time since I started it. I stopped about halfway. Well, actually, I found out it was a quarter way. I stopped about a quarter way through because I played 1, 2 back to back, and then I started 3, and then I just stopped, and then I didn't go back. But thanks to Sparks, I now have PS Plus, and one of the games for last month was Uncharted 4 that I could download for free. So I was like, you know what? Hell, I'll do that. I'll download Uncharted 4. And so I really want to play that, so I finished Uncharted 3. That game's really great. I really like the story there. It only reinforces my idea that Mark Wahlberg is not a good pick for Sully.
No.
Not at all.
No.
And then I started Uncharted 4, and that game is really great so far. So I was really excited with the adventure-ness going on in my life.
I think 2 and 4 are the best ones. I think 2 is the best one, but then 4 is second best.
I really liked 2.
2 is so good, God.
Yeah. I started and finished Solar Opposites.
Wow.
Oh.
The new Justin Roiland series on Hulu. That show is fine.
Yeah. I
did not think it was particularly great. I like Rick and Morty a whole lot. I didn't like this one a whole lot. However, there is a subplot, and it's on the poster, so I don't mind saying. There's a subplot where one of the kids shrinks people and puts them in a wall in their bedroom. That subplot is the best thing of the show, and I wish that was the whole show.
I know Justin Roiland's involved. Is Dan Harmon involved at all?
No.
Okay. That might explain why it's not as good as Rick and Morty.
Yeah, so the 7th episode is all about the wall, the shrunken people in the wall, and that episode is the best episode of that show and might be on par with everything that Rick and Morty has done. I like that episode a whole lot. I was super engaged in that. I really enjoyed that.
How many episodes?
8. It's 8 episodes.
Okay.
About a half hour each. It's quick to go.
It's hours. Yeah.
Yeah. I watched the first episode, but we haven't gone back yet.
I'm a fan of Justin Roiland, just as like a talent that he's been in a lot of shows. But I did feel like when this first launched that it felt like trying too hard to bring too much of the Rick and Morty energy to it. I wish it felt a little more distinct of its own product.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like an unofficial spinoff.
Yeah. I agree.
It's the
and I know that's hard because like part of Roiland is in Rick and Morty, so it's hard for that to not bleed into this, but it just feels very copying.
That's the thing. Like, this is like, okay, like, so Dan Harmon has Rick and Morty, like we co-created it, but like now I'm going to do my own thing. Why? Like, I personally wouldn't want to make the same thing I just made. So like maybe it's just like what he felt comfortable doing, like on his own, and who knows? Maybe it'll get better second season. Who knows?
Maybe. And like I said, the subplot with the shrunken people has a lot of potential. I really liked it.
Yeah.
And I finished Middleditch and Schwartz based off Ryan's recommendation. The 3-episode improv show on Netflix. That's great. Benjamin Schwartz is such a good pantomime, and the two of them are so good at improv. I was hysterical through all 3 episodes. The 3rd episode kind of starts off a little slow. I wasn't sure I was going to like it as much, but at the end of it, I was on the floor.
Is the 3rd one the which is the lawyer one? The 2nd one, where they're all like lawyers?
Yes, the second one. The second one.
It's like interviews and stuff.
The 3rd one is the one with the interviews.
Okay.
The 2nd one is the one where they're taking the law class.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And the 1st one is the parking lot wedding.
God, there's just one part where what's his name? Thomas Middleditch. He like gets in the character and like he's very quickly like, can we change this character? This is too real for me. And like he actually is like getting like emotional, like pretending to be this character. And he's like, are you getting emotional right now? And he's like, yeah, can I switch characters? And I'm like, this is so good. Like
the parts where they break character, like there's a bit where there's like that bit you're talking about is like, can I add something goofy to this character? Because like, and he's like, wait, are you real right now? Is this you or is this the character?
He's like, it's both. And I'm like, oh my God. I highly recommend you guys watch that. Like it's the hardest I've laughed in a long time. Like I might rewatch it again. Like if you watch it soon, like that is just a pick me up like no other.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Yeah, I got time now. Got time to be high.
Man, yeah, get high and watch it. That'd be great.
Yeah, approved.
Yeah, that's all I got though. That's all I have. That's
Look
all.
At that. We didn't take an hour. I love it.
No. Shall we get into our bread and butter?
Lathering up the butter.
We got a lot to get through with bread and butter. There was a lot of exciting news and some sad. So we'll get to the sad and then we'll get to the exciting. So there were quite a number of deaths this week.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
It started with Jerry Stiller, Ben Stiller's father. Fun fact, I didn't know that. I don't know why I didn't know that.
You didn't know that, really?
I really didn't know that.
What? Dude, that's so crazy.
Yeah, Jerry Stiller. I guess I just never knew the actor's name. Until
it's funny because like even though they have done stuff together much earlier in his career, they are often doing stuff together, like in interviews, or they're talking about each other, or like that's very interesting to me. I feel like that's like a common thing.
I didn't know because every time I saw Jerry Stiller, I always thought, oh, that's George Costanza's dad from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
That's all I knew him from. I didn't know. I thought he was just like another one of those actors who I know, but I don't know.
Well, I knew him as a very prominent comedic actor who had been George Costanza's father on Seinfeld and the King of Queens' dad. I knew him.
I was going to say, just throw King of Queens under the bus for Seinfeld.
I mean, look, he's the actor who created Festivus. Come on.
Yeah.
So like
wait, that comes from him?
Yeah, that comes from him.
I thought that came from Kramer. Never mind.
No, Kramer got into it because of him.
Oh,
it's a very funny episode. It's quoted to hell, but it's a very funny episode.
Anyways, on that one. Sorry.
So he died this week at the age of 92 years old. No cause given. But Ben Stiller announced it on his Twitter, on his social media accounts this week. It's very sad. Yeah. Fred Willard, another prominent comedic actor, passed away this week at the age of 86. Fred Willard. Man, what haven't you seen him in?
There's so many things he shows up in. I can't even know. I don't know where to start.
The only live actor to ever appear in a Pixar film.
That is true. He is the president of By and Large.
Yep.
Holy shit, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
The only actor.
Yeah, that's a good movie and
I know him from, I was about to say American Pie. I know him from the American Pie movies. Yeah. Gosh.
No, that's a different guy. That's not Fred Willard. Oh God,
bro, he's an American Wedding. I got it right here.
No, I was thinking
it's a long list.
Yeah.
Long career.
Oh my God, he's in a Scoob-Doo movie.
Yes, he is. Wow. Yeah, he talks. You know, his daughter talked about how like he's always been happy and laughing all day, and he just constantly loved work, and is such a great positive talent. But he died this week at the age of 86. From natural causes, the amalgamous thing that we used to die of before COVID.
When people just died from being old.
Yeah,
unfortunately, that also happens. Yeah.
Of course, he was Ron Burgundy's director in Anchorman.
Yeah.
I forget that.
Yep. You are looking at your phone. I see that.
I know.
You could do a whole episode just talking about Fred Willard's appearances.
Yeah, you could.
We're not going to do that, Ben.
Ben, put your phone away.
That's a dude I respect. I respect the hustle because he. Can I?
Yeah,
Ryan.
That dude just loved working, so he appeared in like straight to DVD movies. There's a Christian Netflix, and he appears in a bunch of those movies just because like he thinks like they're like good valued and stuff like that. So he's just like he seems like a good dude, just like to be an actor. I'm like,
yeah,
rest in peace.
He just really liked to work, and it showed.
Yeah. He did a lot of mockumentaries with Oh my God, I just had the guy's name in my head.
He did Spinal Tap with Rob Reiner.
It was not Rob Reiner, but I'm not thinking of Rob Reiner, but he did a lot of mockumentaries with a specific guy. I forgot the name. Lynn Shelton passed away the same day. She's a prominent indie director. She passed away this week. She worked with Ellen Page a lot. She's also directed many TV episodes, such as Netflix Glow. She's a prominent talent in the independent world. She was one of the directors that was talked about for Black Widow. Before she said she didn't want it because she liked having her own creative control.
Oh, was that her? Where she was like, "I don't want someone to do the stunts for me." Like,
no, they want someone else. That was the second director. She was the first person they approached for Black Widow.
Gotcha.
And her only quotes for Black Widow were like, "Look, the more money you get in a thing, the less creative control you have. So I want it. So I prefer to do things with less money."
It's true.
She passed away this week at the age of 54 due to a blood disorder. No other cause given. Okay.
Yeah.
But young, 54.
Yeah, I saw a lot of celebrities I like and follow posting pictures and telling stories about her. It was really sad.
Yeah. Martin Pascoe passed away this week. Most prominently, Martin Pascoe was the co-writer of Batman: Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh, okay.
He wrote for many comics for DC, wrote for Batman the Animated Series, obviously. He wrote issues of Saga of Swamp Thing. He wrote episodes of Cheers. He wrote comics of Superman. Generally, if you have seen a thing or read a thing, he has worked on that thing, is basically what people were talking about. Like, this guy was everywhere. This guy had his hands in everything. He's a prominent writer. He passed away at the age of 65 this week due to natural causes. And then over on the east, on the far east, is that racist? I hope not.
Depends on what your next thing you're going to say.
Kumiko Okai passed away.
I think it was.
Oops. Prominent Japanese actress, a voice actress for many Studio Ghibli films, such as the cat. What was the cat one that Carrie L was dubbed in?
My Neighbor Totoro?
No, Carrie L wasn't in that one. So he plays a cat. Studio Ghibli cat film? No? All right, whatever.
I know which one you're talking about, but I don't remember the name.
She's in the Japanese version of that one.
Ponyo?
No, it's I'll look it up.
Liam Neeson's in that one.
Yeah, he is in that one actually.
So she was also in Pokemon. She did a lot of.
I knew it was something like that. I was going to say The Cat Comes Back. The Cat Returns.
The Cat Returns. She was one of the main characters in The Cat Returns over in Japan. Yeah. She was in Pokemon. She's a prominent voice actress. She also did some live action. She did some hosting of some game shows and things like that. She passed away this week at the age of 63 due to complications of COVID-19.
Oh.
A lot of great talent passed away this week.
Yeah.
Sad to see him go.
A lot of great talent passed away this past 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the exciting news. I have really exciting news here.
I have no idea what you're about to say. So.
Okay. You guys know I'm a huge Star Trek fan.
Oh, God. Sorry.
Here we go.
This is excellent news for me. I was really excited to hear this happen. This has been rumored for quite a while. Anson Mount portrayed Captain Christopher Pike, the second captain of the USS Enterprise, on Star Trek Discovery Season 2. And he was really well received, even by myself. I thought he brought such an energy to that show and such an excitement. I loved seeing him every single time he was on board. Ethan Peck came on board the show as Spock, and Rebecca Romijn, Mystique.
Rebecca Romijn.
Thank you, Rebecca Romijn, the original Mystique from the first of the X-Men movies. She was number one, Captain Pike's first officer from the original Star Trek pilot, The Cage. There's been rumors and speculation that they wanted to do a TV series with those actors, and now they have finally announced that there is, in fact, a Star Trek show called Star Trek Strange New Worlds in development from CBS All Access, which will see the return of Captain Pike, based on the years of Captain Christopher Pike manning the helm of the USS Enterprise. This is a full show. It's happening. Anson Mount, Ethan Peck, and Rebecca Romijn, thank you, Romijn, will return to reprise their roles for Discovery Season 2, and I'm stoked.
So that's really cool. I know you wanted this. This sounds really dope. Are you concerned about Star Trek oversaturation at this point?
100%. There are 7 Star Trek shows in active development right now.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Yep. See, this is what's so.
Even though this sounds really cool and probably like the best of the bunch, I'd be concerned about that too.
Hey man, I mean, we were excited for Picard, not that it was bad. I don't think it wasn't exactly what you wanted, right?
No, I mean, but I knew what to expect with Picard. With this, I mean, because, and even so, like I knew what to expect with Picard, and I was a little disappointed. I was a little disappointed in it, but this is going to go back to kind of the exploring strange new worlds of Star Trek. It's more, they're talking about it being more episodic in nature. Obviously, there will be character development that will continue throughout. They're not exactly resetting after each episode, but each episode will be a self-contained story rather than a whole self-contained story arc throughout the season.
Like a Star Trek show?
Like a Star Trek show, which I much prefer.
I do want to point out that I didn't mean like this show is a bad idea. I just meant like this is probably the show that they should have had, and all the other shows maybe shouldn't be around, or at least most of them.
100%, because that's what I was getting at. The idea that this is the one that people were clamoring for, but now there are 3 animated shows in development. Obviously, Picard and Discovery, and there was a Section 31 show and active development.
Mm-hmm.
There are 7 Star Trek shows, and in Star Trek's height, we're in a new height of Star Trek, but in Star Trek's height, there were only 2 shows on air at one time, and the whole franchise collapsed under that weight.
Yeah,
like that's not.
Yeah, I guess it helps that like CBS has decided they're a streaming service based entirely around Star Trek and Twilight Zone.
Yeah, right.
I'm really curious about the numbers because like Star Trek's not cheap. And we'll talk about it, but Twilight Zone does not look cheap either. Like they've got to have a big subscription model to keep pumping out these expensive shows, right? They have to.
And
like,
it's got to be doing a lot better than people think because they're still putting in a lot of money.
My fear is that under Kurtzman, this model seems more like quantity over quality.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
And I think that the Pike show will probably be pretty good, but I think even it won't be as good as you want it to be because all of them just fall short of achieving that true level of like compassion and dedication for the series that it deserves because they're too spread out amongst different projects and nobody's like coming in and being like, I have a passion to tell this story. It's just, hey, everybody really liked Anson Mount. We better make a show about that guy.
It feels like Brandon, like they're afraid, and I don't mean this in a negative way. They're afraid to make Star Trek boring. They're afraid to just make it people talking. Like it's not. Discovery is such an action show sometimes. Like I haven't seen all of it, but I haven't seen all the Star Trek like you have, but I've seen a number of the seasons or of the series, and I know it's a lot of just people walking around talking about politics and shit, and that stuff's great. That's why people like Star Trek.
Well, one of the things that I find really interesting and really telling is that whenever people talk about what Star Trek is about, they say, "Oh, hope and optimism." Hope and optimism are such amalgamous things that mean something different to everybody. That there's just this kind of umbrella theme that people just, oh, what's the talking point about Star Trek? Oh, it's hope and optimism. Star Trek isn't just about that. It's about betterment of mankind.
Yeah.
When you really boil it down, it is about, as a person, how do you become better? And how do you make the world around you better? And that's what Star Trek has always been about, is we find those, we're not going around Strange New Worlds being like, look how weird that is. We're going around Strange New Worlds learning something about ourselves, teaching them something about how to be better.
So
that's what they really.
So what they really need is just one really dedicated premium show done by Aaron Sorkin and no other shows right now.
The Newsroom, Enterprise.
You know, I know Brian Fuller is still attached to Discovery as executive producer, but man, I would have killed for a Brian Fuller Star Trek show.
And also, that Quentin Tarantino thing is like not real. It's probably not happening. And I don't necessarily want him to make a rated R Star Trek thing, but at least the script would be top notch.
Yeah.
At least Star Trek would never.
Yeah, the conversations would be like
hilarious,
incredible.
The techno babble that he would just be like, "Oh no, yes," like, oh man, that's what I would look forward to.
So, like I said, the show will be more episodic in nature to Discovery and Picard. This is where I'm excited for the show, and all of these are valid points. The Star Trek oversaturation, again, 7 shows. That's ridiculous. You know, the fact that the chief creative people on these projects don't just understand it on a fundamental level is always going to be a problem, which makes all these shows fall short. But the series premiere was written by Akiva Goldsman. And Akiva Goldsman wrote is helming the series with Alex Kurtzman and Jenny LeMay, which those three are the main creative people around Star Trek. And I think there's a couple of more producers that have come on board just for this. They have yet to really nail down a showrunner. Akiva Goldsman sucks.
His name is everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
And he's done good stuff, but it's mostly been bad, I think.
He's who's the director of Simon
Kinberg.
He's Simon Kinberg. Like, there's good stuff attached to his name, but he is not primarily responsible for that good stuff. So, look, I'm excited for this cautiously, much like I was for Picard. This is the show that I've been asking them to make since they started. So,
put it to you this way. Would you rather have this show, not necessarily badly, but half-heartedly, or just not have it at all?
That's you just defined the whole franchise right now.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. Is like,
I mean, you're absolutely right, because to get to like my like deepest feelings about Star Trek, honestly, pull the whole plug.
Right.
I'm thinking all 7 of these shows, pull it, gone. Because to me, this is not the best that Star Trek can be, and it's showing an entire generation of people the worst that Star Trek can be.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's right.
Sure.
But if we're getting them, there is some good stuff in them that I'll put it to you this way. Star Trek has yet to disappoint me in the same way that The Crimes of Grindelwald or The Rise of Skywalker did.
Into Darkness?
This is part of the reason why I posed the question, because you're the most invested in Star Trek.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, like, I know that this is I would argue this is the most exciting project to you so far of the new Star Trek stuff, which means I think it has the highest weight to disappoint.
True.
And I just, from what I've gathered from you and others, I just don't have any reason to believe that this show is somehow going to be on a quality level that is considered consistent to the original shows, when none of the others, even Picard, have been able to reach that level.
You're right.
Especially when you have a character like, if Picard, which is supposed to be like, it's Jean-Luc coming back, it's Patrick Stewart, if that's not like a 10 out of 10, then what hope is there, right?
There's always hope, Ryan. That's what
not this timeline.
There's hope. There's Black Bolt.
Oh, can't speak though. Don't speak.
I mean, if Anson Mount still brings in his damn good charisma, like he'll at least give me something to watch.
Casts have not been the problem with these new shows.
That's true. Well, I'm not crazy about the whole cast on Discovery.
Sure, not the whole cast, but I mean, like, you got Jason Isaacs in there. I know the lead, whose name escapes me, comes from The Walking Dead, and she's talented.
She's good.
No, I haven't watched the show, but I know that there are talented people. Michelle Yeoh's on
Discovery.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
She's supposed to headline the Section 31 show.
Right. You've got talent on those screens. I'm far more concerned about the people behind the scenes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's true. But we will wait and see. I mean, it's likely. Look, like I said, 7 Star Trek shows in production right now. This show's not coming out in the next year, so we got some time. Till this happens.
Also, much like the Transformers writing room, where there's like 7 movies in production, I don't think they're all happening.
I think that Section 31 show is dead. They haven't talked about it in a long time.
Yeah,
that's actually a good point, because this is all Paramount. This
is how Paramount likes writing rooms.
This is how Paramount likes to run things.
Well, no, this is CBS.
But I mean, Paramount owns CBS.
No, CBS owns Paramount. It's different.
Okay. So, but it's still the same people in charge overseeing things. So, like, CBS owning Paramount and having them do a writer's room for Transformers is still the same.
True. But, I mean, well, hold on. I'm sorry, I misspoke. CBS recently bought Paramount. This is a recent development.
Okay.
Paramount and CBS used to be separate companies.
So Viacom doesn't own Paramount anymore?
No, Viacom and CBS merged.
Oh.
And CBS and Paramount became something under Viacom CBS.
Gotcha.
So
corporations, how do they work?
Right. That's why CBS All Access is now going to rebrand and put all the Paramount stuff on them, because they can. They now own Paramount.
Oh, what's it going to be called? Just
CBS All Access too.
Oh, new.
Yeah, they're rebranding and doing a whole thing, but we don't know a whole lot yet.
Okay.
So I don't know. We'll see. I'm like I said, with all the Star Trek shows, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yep.
All right. So, but great points, Sparks. Like wonderful points. I like that a whole lot. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I was just curious, mostly. Do you think that this has the potential of being the Grindelwald for the new Star Trek? If this show tanks on you, are you done? Are you done with the Kurtzman era?
You'll always have the originals, baby.
Oh, it depends on how bad this show is.
Sure.
Because there's a level of disappointment that Grindelwald hit that made me just done with Harry Potter.
So I vaguely know how Discovery's first season ends and how that led to Anson Mount and everything. I'm wondering if the new Anson Mount show will have a season finale that kind of goes up its own ass in a really bad way, is what I'm anticipating.
Maybe.
Oh, Kirk's showing up on that show, right? They got Spock in Discovery, right? He's showing up on that show.
Kirk doesn't show up for another 10 years.
But he won't be he can't cameo at all. You don't think they'll do it? They won't pull that bullshit. They're gotta. Hey, look, I'm in Starfleet. I'm a bubble.
I'm gonna say that they shouldn't, but I'm not going to discredit that they won't.
I'm just thinking of a boardroom guy saying, "Yo, what if we got James T. Kirk in the show? Fans would love it."
Yeah, they'd have to make him a commander or a lieutenant or something, because he can't be a captain.
If Kurtzman has his way, the end of the Anson Mount show will be the opening of the J.J. Abrams Star Trek film. And you'll see Pike go to the bar.
What's your
to get,
name?
Yeah.
Oh my god. He transforms into. They reshoot.
That would do it.
From 09.
That would do it.
From 09 with the new Christopher Pike.
Yeah.
That actually would be.
No, because Pike didn't meet Kirk until Kirk went on the Enterprise. It was the first time Pike. Sorry, that would do it.
I don't know. I saw the J.J. Abrams movie.
The J.J. Abrams movie is a different universe, Ryan.
I don't know.
It's an alternate reality that was changed drastically. Okay, I'm done with this.
I know, Brandon. I know.
I'm done with this. Now I'm mad.
What's the timeline?
But
Okay.
that's exactly the kind of detail Kurtzman wouldn't pay attention to and then do. And you're like, wait a minute. That's not possible.
See, it would be like the newest season of Clone Wars where it goes with Revenge of the Sith, but it'd be the bad version of that with the new movies.
Man. Okay.
It's a darkness.
Season 2 of Discovery had a really good episode where they revisit the pilot of Star Trek. I like that episode. All right, anyway,
cool.
Whatever. Happy COVID-19 news I put here because there's good things that came out of the massive delays that have caused the COVID news that have caused the entertainment industry to shift in a drastic and unpredictable way.
Do tell.
Well, Hamilton, the musical, was originally going to be put in a theatrical release on October 15th, 2021, a year and a half from now. And it was going to have a proper theatrical release from Disney. Well, now Disney has announced that it will debut the musical on Disney Plus on July 3rd of this year.
That's so soon.
Yeah.
God bless America.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
I am someone who I don't listen to musicals without seeing them first. So besides random internet videos, I've never listened to Hamilton except for like the what's it called? Good News with Jim Krasinski.
Yeah,
he had
some good news with John Krasinski. They did the opening number.
Yeah, they did the opening number. So that's the most I've ever seen of Hamilton is somebody else singing the opening number on a Zoom call.
Well, that was all the original cast.
No, yeah, I think, and what I mean is like I'm excited to finally experience it because like I haven't been spoiled by listening to the soundtrack.
It'll be fun to watch that with
times.
you.
I think this is. Go, Ben.
I was gonna say I've been curious to see the musical because everyone I know because I'm still in good contact with a bunch of my friends who were big into musical theater back when I was in high school. They could not shut up about how good Hamilton is, and of course those tickets are so hard to get. That's like, well, I'm probably never going to see the show. And they're like, oh, have you listened to the soundtrack? I was like, I'm like, right. I don't want to listen to the soundtrack until I've actually seen the show. And
I think Lin-Manuel Miranda spoke heavily about how, they want as many people as possible to see this movie. And because the show was so expensive, they filmed this years ago. This is the original Broadway cast.
Awesome.
So they filmed this so long ago, and so when Disney was putting it in theaters, like that was the first time that everyone was like, okay, now everyone can see it. But now that it's getting on Disney Plus, not in 2 months, like man, everyone's gonna get to see this musical just the way that it was intended, and I think that's awesome.
Which it's fine with me because so now I don't have to either fly to New York or spend hundreds of dollars on tickets that I'm probably not going to get, and get a horrible seat behind someone who I can't see behind.
I mean, it's not the same as seeing it on stage. I'm sure that would be incredible, but it's unlikely for many people. So it's cool that we get to see this.
I get to
it's
see
not
it,
the same as being in the room where it happened, but it is like watching a recording of the room where it happened.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
At least I could, after this, I could honestly say I saw Hamilton, and I could say either whether I loved it or I hate it.
And look, I was excited for the theatrical release, but now I'm just as excited as the Disney Plus release. Like, I get to see this in 2 months. I get to finally see Hamilton. That's awesome.
Also, it comes out July 3rd, right before 4th of July, so America.
It's a stage show, as the one person who has seen it. Yeah. It's a cool stage show.
I can't wait to find out what actually happens to Alexander Hamilton. I haven't been spoiled yet.
I will say, I think in certain aspects, the music is better than the stage production itself. I think that what is cool about the stage production mostly translates better live than being filmed. But we'll see. I haven't seen the film version, but that's just my initial impression.
It's just cool that finally...
No, I agree.
Okay. The other thing is, I have a question for you guys.
I have an answer.
You definitely do. What did the dates April 13th, 2018, February 22nd, 2019, August 2nd, 2019, and April 3rd, 2020 all have in common?
The days I lost my virginity.
All of them.
All of them.
Wow.
I took them in incremental parts.
Bases.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's 5 bases. Did you guys know this?
But there are 4.
No.
Ben, you don't know there's a secret
there's home,
base?
First, second, third, and then the mound.
You can't forget the mound.
This has been derailed.
I don't know what the...
I don't know the answer, Brandon, but I'm just going to play along.
Okay. They are all dates that the New Mutants was supposed to come out on.
5 dates. God.
Now.
That's not a 6th date? Is it a 6th date, Brandon?
Sorry, this is the 5th date.
My dog side.
The new date and the 5th time that New Mutants has a release date is August 28th, 2020.
Bloody hell! If this day does not come out in theaters, I'm scared Ryan's gonna have an aneurysm.
It's not. Because our shelter in place just got pushed in for 2 more months.
It hasn't officially yet.
Not officially. But come on, we're in a pandemic. We need to do it. Anyway, a month from that, I don't want to go to the movie theater.
Here's the thing.
Even if New Mutants
So hold on. I want to point out. Here's what's probably it might keep its release date because a lot of other theaters will be open, but ours might not be.
Yeah, ours won't. Yeah,
You have to travel out of state to see that shit.
I've waited 3 years, Ben. I could wait a couple more months.
Yeah.
So the reason why I finally I looked a bit online, and the reason why this movie can't just be put on Disney Plus or Hulu is because there is a pre-existing contract with HBO Now that has to debut on HBO Now. So that's why it can't go to Disney Plus. So fun fact. Just thought that was interesting. Because Fox had a deal with Fox had a first deal.
Old Fox 20th Century Fox deal. Yeah.
So they inherited that contract. They could buy it out, but it might just be more trouble than it's worth.
It feels like it if they're continuously doing this.
Honestly, just man.
Just release it on HBO Max.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do it. Just put it on the streaming service already. The film is done. Just put it out for God's sake.
I just want it to come out. I just want to see it because at this point, I feel bad for the inanimate object that is this movie.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the director, Josh Boone, because he's probably getting asked about this every single day, and he doesn't have any answers. The movie's been done. It's done. He's just like, you know as much as I do, guys. It's out when it's out. Man.
It's wild. This is a movie that stopped filming, that finished filming in 2017.
It's like he broke up with a girl in late 2016, and everybody's asking him about it.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Oh, yeah, so remember Jessica? This was years ago. Please.
He's like, guys, I'm engaged. Leave me alone.
I'm working on Paper Towns too. Come on.
I just want this movie to come out. I just want it. I don't even care if I don't see it. I just want it out.
And they did the thing like last week, or it was this week, last week, where they released new photos that we haven't seen before of like last week of like the demon bear in limbo with magic, and then another of like one of the smiling villains. And I'm like, those are clearly from the movie. Just come on, baby. Why don't do that?
They were talking about like I saw the tweet from Chris Hewitt of the Empire Podcast. It was like at this point, I fully expect New Mutants to move its date as I'm watching it.
Yeah,
like you're watching it halfway, the theater shuts it down. It's like, hey, we have to put this movie out in 3 months from now. You can't finish the rest of it. Bye.
It's the longest intermission in the world. It's 3 months long. Yeah.
Or the other tweet where it's just like, they're probably just going to put it out screenshot by screenshot and make us put it together.
I'm practically at the point where I bet my bottom dollar we'll go to the theater to see it. We'll sit in there for 15 minutes and the thing won't start, and they'll say, we're having a problem with the projection. We're going to move you into another room. And they move us into another room for New Mutants, and that one goes down also.
Oh my God.
And then it's like, you know what? All the prints are damaged. I'm sorry.
This movie is cursed. God.
The old mutants now.
All right. We got some
the old mutants when we watch this movie.
Yeah.
Okay, we got some. Man, it must be weird that whenever there is a red carpet premiere for this movie, let's say hypothetically, this movie doesn't come out on August 28th in August, and there will be a red carpet premiere whenever it does come out. It's gonna be weird that like the actors are gonna be 15 years older.
Yeah.
Man, I remember when I made this movie back when I was a young whippersnapper. I hope they come in old age makeup.
Oh my God. It's been 84 years.
Anyway, all right. Anyway, so some Disney news. The Mandalorian seems to be the gift that keeps on giving to the Hollywood Reporter. Because they're just pumping them out.
They got a guy.
There's a leak in the Mandalorian. Timothy Olyphant is apparently in the show. He has filmed his scenes. Obviously, the whole season is done filming. Timothy Olyphant is an unknown role in the show.
Cool.
I would assume he is just like we had Bill Burr show up as just like a villain. Just like I'm sure he's just like a dude. Not everyone has to be a famous character.
Or he's old Cad Bane.
Nope.
I don't hate that.
So, like, okay, sure, but like, how much like season 2 of The Mandalorian is going to be like the most fan service thing of all time? If it continues like this, every character from every other show is going to show up, and I'm like, okay, I guess just give me my love, give me it.
Well, what I trust a show like this, and after seeing like all the care that went into the first season with the new Disney Gallery series, I trust a show like this to handle legacy characters such as Ahsoka or Rex or whoever ends up showing into the show. Because once again, Disney has not said anything about this show. These are all leaks coming.
I really think because I've had conversations with other people, and I really feel it's important to remind we do not know officially that Ahsoka is in this show. No, that has never been said. Yeah. We do not know officially that Rosario Dawson is playing her. That has never been said.
Right. Again, these are all rumors. Every single thing that has come out of the Mandalorian is all rumors and should be treated as such until there is a confirmation.
Don't we have like Daniel Sandberg's like Patreon to thank for this or something? What was his name? Remember?
Oh, I don't remember. This one came from. I don't remember who the source was in the Hollywood Reporter, but last week it was like Patrick something or other. Patreon said something.
Yeah. That was for like Ironheart.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That was for Ironheart.
Disney stuff, yeah.
So, I trust the creative talent behind the show. Filoni specifically to handle legacy characters. What?
Much more than Star Trek.
Oh, 100%. I trust him to handle characters that we have seen before in a way that doesn't feel like fan service, in a way that feels natural and organic to the show of The Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. Much like when Ahsoka shows up in Rebels. It doesn't feel like fan service. It feels like the natural progression of that show, Ahsoka showing up.
Or the return of Maul.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So
Which should be like the most fan service thing ever, and somehow didn't.
Yeah, and he became one of the best characters on the show.
Yeah,
I trust Filoni.
In Filoni, we trust.
Yeah. I mean, like Spark says, I trust Filoni more than I trust every creative force on Star Trek right now.
Mm-hmm.
I trust Filoni more than I trust almost every creative force on Star Wars.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, it's not wrong. Katie Sackhoff was also announced from the Hollywood Reporter to be reprising her role as Bo-Katan from the Clone Wars and Rebels TV series. She is the first actress to appear in animated form to jump to live action.
It's cool. I mean, if the rumors of that other character are true, maybe it could have been that. But like, I think we all like Katie Sackhoff, and like,
so this is where, like, if this is true, I don't believe the Rosario Dawson one.
Yeah.
I don't believe that Filoni would be like, Katie Sackhoff gets to play her character. Ashley Eckstein, who I love and adore, who has created this character, she doesn't. I don't believe it. I don't believe that Filoni lets one happen and not the other.
You think so, yeah.
Especially since Ahsoka is a more popular character than what's her name from what's the name of thank you.
Now, Ben, what's interesting about this, and I've seen a lot of people like argue how this is feeling fan service, and I get that. But a show called The Mandalorian probably should have one of the more prominent Mandalorian characters in the whole franchise. And Bo-Katan was the leader of the Mandalorians last we saw. She was the last person to hold the Darksaber.
Yes.
In canon until Moff Gideon showed up.
Right.
Death Watch.
So to me, it makes sense that character would show up in Mandalorian.
She held it in Rebels?
She was the last person in Rebels to have the Darksaber. Okay. She led the Mandalorian.
I haven't gotten to that part in Rebels yet. That's why.
Right.
And so when we see Moff Gideon with the Darksaber in Mandalorian, well, I assume that Bo-Katan was either dead or they have history.
Right.
So I think that's really cool that we're going to dive into what that story could potentially be. The other thing is, I think it's also interesting if they continue with the Mandalorians not taking off their helmets. Bo-Katan's taking off her helmet all day long in Rebels.
Oh, yeah.
But in Mandalorian, if they don't take off the helmets, she's probably not on set. She's doing voice work.
Yep. But again, because she is a different set where she does take off her helmet, maybe they're not going to do the thing where like, oh, because this is the Mandalorian, they don't take off their helmets. She can't take off her helmet. Like to her character, she always takes off her helmet. So I wouldn't be surprised if she's like, oh, I don't do what you do. You're weird. You're like you're a religious guy.
I agree.
I would. I'm with you. I agree. I think that's totally valid. But I would like to see her come back.
I'll put this another way. I really believe that this is true. This seems that Katie Sackhoff's character would appear, that she's playing her. I really believe that. That makes a lot of sense. This makes me think Ahsoka isn't even in the season.
Yeah.
I don't think Ahsoka is actually in the season. I think that was a rumor that got blown up. I don't think that's true anymore. And I definitely don't think Rosario Dawson's playing her.
Yeah. I'm kind of with you on this one. I think I'm starting to believe this as well.
I just can't see it. I can't see Filoni giving the shaft to Eckstein, who has been as verbal as you can be while still working for the company and not biting the hand that feeds you about the fact that she would want to play Ahsoka in live action.
Right. Yeah.
I don't believe it.
I agree. One more thing about Katie Sackhoff. I believe this one specifically because Katie Sackhoff a couple of months ago, about when they were filming The Mandalorian, tweeted out saying, like, I just did the coolest thing in my entire career.
Yeah.
And you will find out soon. So I think that's what this was.
That makes a lot of sense. And that makes me feel all the more like Ashley Eckstein's she could be lying if she wanted to, but she's been pretty vocal that she has no idea what's happening with Ahsoka right now as of like a month ago. Yeah. And I think she'd at least know if Ahsoka was showing up in this show. Yeah. So I'm starting to think she's not in it.
And there are more rumors. Rumors popped up again this week about an Ahsoka TV series on Disney Plus. Look, I think that's the Rebels sequel TV series. That's just getting like slipped through the pipeline as something else.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's impossible Ahsoka can appear on Mandalorian. I'm just saying I don't think it happens this season.
Yeah.
I don't think that's been set in stone at all.
Yeah, I agree. I still want.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Oh, you go.
I was gonna say if they it is again the Mandalorian. Like if they are introducing Boba Fett again and they're bringing Bo-Katan back, then those are other Mandalorian characters. Introducing this ex-Jedi, which would be cool, would kind of detract from that core story, unless it is like a side thing. So maybe if this rumor is true, I think it is like a season 3 thing because it seems like they're focusing on this stuff.
Even the rumors that Sabine is in the show,
right?
Who's also a Mandalorian.
That'd be so
like the
sick,
the ideas of Sabine and Rex and Ahsoka appearing make a lot of sense.
Yes.
In due time. I don't feel like it's this season.
Yeah.
I feel like those rumors are unsubstantiated and not true. And I think that they're still waiting to settle Ahsoka somewhere else before they would bring her to the Mandalorian. And again, like I just don't believe you bring Sackhoff to her character and not Eckstein.
Yeah. I agree. I'm with you.
That feels so callous and shallow.
Yeah.
Like, you can't bring Rex over, voice actor to screen actor, because we've seen him in Attack of the Clones, so that makes sense. But Ahsoka, nah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm 100% with you. But we will see. I still think that Rebels sequel series is happening. We've heard too much stuff about it. And I think that's where Ahsoka's story is going next.
Well, I think like the key thing is there is an inevitability that we get some kind of show revolving around what happens after where Rebels ends.
Yeah.
It has to happen. So it's going to happen somewhere. It's just not quite clear where.
I still want Dr. Aphra to show up in the show, honestly. I think she'd be a good fit for the Mandalorian.
Yeah. She's bad.
But we still
too,
don't.
Yeah.
But Dr. Aphra's like final fate isn't clear yet, right?
That is true.
She's still in the comics, so it's like not clear that she survived necessarily Empire ending, all kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I can see why they wouldn't want to get in the way of that yet.
Right.
Oh, we're talking about Star Wars real quick. Another game that I've been playing is Star Wars Empire at War, which is a real-time strategy Star Wars game where like you command like armies of spaceships and on the ground and stuff. That game is 10 years old, right? But there are modders who are still modding the game, and I downloaded a mod for it that has characters from like the most recent stuff. Like it has Admiral Trench, the cool spider dude from Clone Wars. He's really cool. It has Ahsoka, it has Asajj Ventress, like all these characters who weren't around 10 years ago. Asajj Ventress?
Asajj Ventress.
She was in Clone Wars. Yeah. But a lot of these like newer characters, like Rex and all these characters, are like, man, it's cool that modders still care about these games. And I'm like, it's cool to like fight a giant spider dude in a 10-year-old Star Wars game. So Star Wars is cool, guys.
All right. So take this with the biggest grain of salt that you can find, guys. Pull it out and put it right on the floor. Atlantis.
I'll call it Star Trek, and I'll put it right here.
Atlantis: The Lost Empire, according to the Illuminati, which is a site I do not trust.
Oh, not with that name.
Said it claims that there is a live-action retelling happening about Atlantis: The Lost Empire.
I guarantee you, in the next 50 years, there will be a new one. It's not this year.
Yeah, I would. Okay, so with Disney doing their live-action retellings recently, by their track record, they're going after the more famous ones first. The ones that everyone knows in one way, shape, or form. Cinderella, Mulan, Lion King specifically, Lady the Tramp, maybe not so. That's why they put it on Disney+. Pete's Dragon was their gamble, and unfortunately, it didn't really pan out for them money-wise. Not critically money-wise, but
that's one.
As much as I would like to see the Atlantis Lost Empire, as much as I think Atlantis Lost Empire would be the best fit, that and Treasure Planet as the best fit for animated retellings, it's not going to happen anytime soon.
I want to counter that for two reasons. Just because, remind me again, the Lilo and Stitch one that was talked about a while ago, that's also Disney Plus, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, it is?
Instead of theaters, which shocked me personally. Because of that, Ben, I do think it's possible this is true, because I think Disney is trying to find a way to milk out more shows that will get people's attention on Disney Plus right now, because they are going to have to change their budget for the live action films in light of the coronavirus.
Right.
So I see this as more likely now than I would have a few months ago.
Okay.
That being said, I'm not saying that it's definitely happening, but the idea that, especially Atlantis over Treasure Planet, because I think Treasure Planet requires more film budget, but Atlantis, I can kind of see them pulling that off as a Disney Plus show.
Yeah.
Do you think they would do Treasure Planet before doing a Treasure Island again? Because I think the budget, like they obviously need a big budget for Treasure Planet, but they can do like a small scale.
I think they have no interest in trying to do Treasure Island while they're still trying to make Pirates of the Caribbean films happen.
Good idea. There you go. Good answer. Good answer.
Yeah, I don't trust the source, but I do think that there are people throwing out names all the time, and some intern probably heard something and then emailed their friend.
Yep.
So I do think that perhaps there is talks of something like this, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know that I necessarily buy it's like in close development or anything, but I would say I believe more that Atlantis Lost Empire is going to go to Disney Plus than to theaters, whereas I feel like Treasure Planet could.
Hey, just as the fact that Disney looks essentially like retells or does something with Atlantis Lost Empire or Treasure Planet, because both of those films are super underrated. They're really good films.
I agree with you. I've been preaching this a long time that these are the ones that should be revisited.
Yeah.
We are with Little Mermaid about to come out because on that one. We are now at the end of the like golden guarantee box office of classic animated films being turned into. There's not really many of them left
after Little Mermaid and Hercules.
Well, because I was going to argue that Hercules isn't even part of that golden era, not the way they defined it.
Well,
anyway.
yeah. Okay.
So Hercules being in development, and we know it is already a gesture of they're moving away from the like true classics into other beloved Disney animated films.
Yeah,
we're already at the point where things like Atlantis, Lost Empire, and Treasure Planet can come up.
I really only put it in because I wanted to bounce into the next thing. We had some other Disney stuff too, but this is awesome. There is a Percy Jackson TV series happening at Disney Plus, starting with Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief for the first season. Disney Plus is developing a live-action series based on the series of books. Rick Riordan made the announcement himself on his Twitter with his wife, and they are going to be heavily involved with the show on a creative level.
Super duper.
I think that's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's really great. I really wanted it to be animated.
Yeah.
We talked about that. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I think it's better animated.
I wanted to say it here on the podcast because Riordan's whole universe of books is massively expansive at this point because he's included books by other writers about different cultures at this point that still exist within his canon. Not to mention that he's done Egyptian, Norse, and Greek and Roman.
Yeah,
his stories are so expansive at this point across all the mythologies, and you will never be able to translate that into live action.
Yeah, I think if you're just going with just the Percy Jackson books, yeah, live action makes sense. But if you want to do the wider universe, it should be animated because then you have more opportunity for crossover without having to worry about the actors aging out of the roles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which will happen.
I will also say I have a really hard time picturing the last book of the Percy Jackson series as a Disney Plus television production.
Yeah.
We're talking about the end of Avengers level battle in New York.
Mm.
Well, I mean,
it is the Titans battling the gods at the bottom of Mount Olympus, which is in Manhattan. In those books, that's going to be hard to translate.
I mean, I've seen Crisis on Infinite Earths on the CW. If they can do that, then Disney can literally do anything. They can literally do anything.
And Disney has a lot more money too.
No, I know. Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Disney's got money. I'm not worried about it.
I think, depending on the money that they got, I think they can probably make it work. But yeah, an animated series would have been really fun, and you wouldn't have to worry about things like budgetary complaints.
Yeah, I'm happy for anything that brings more eyes to that stuff, because that stuff is really, really cool, really unique, and really special. And I'm glad that he is going to be as attached as he is.
Yeah,
he and his wife.
All right, comic related stuff. We have some comic book news, but this is the related stuff, the stuff that's adapting comic books. We got a release window for Superman and Lois, the new series on the CW. That's January 2021. Coincidentally, that is also when every other show is coming out because screw fall premieres.
Yeah,
except Legends and Supergirl.
Yes, except Legends and Supergirl,
which have no date at this moment. Supergirl because Melissa Benoist is pregnant.
Oh, if we're talking about CW stuff, do you have the Swamp Thing news?
Swamp Thing has been picked up by the CW to air its first season.
Why do you hate me so much? You forget everything I love.
That's the whole news. They picked up the first season to air it.
Yeah, it's amazing. First of all, because they're picking up stuff to air in the quarantine while there's no new shows, but putting more eyes on it just makes it a little more popular. Maybe that Swamp Thing gets on the HBO show and they use just the same actors and stuff like that. You get Constantine. CW's cool. I'm saying watch Swamp Thing on CW, guys. It's free now. Literally no excuse.
It does leave a possibility for like a revival of interest in Swamp Thing at least.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A second breath for people to talk about it more,
and maybe people can watch it now.
Yeah.
I'll say not highly unlikely, but in the relatively unlikely event that this could lead to a second season, it would be a lower budget. Would you guys be happy with that?
No,
not
okay.
on the CW, no.
Neither of us are convinced that this could lead to Swamp Thing getting a second season.
No.
What I am more convinced of is that he can have a Constantine type afterlife, just as his show had that one season, then he ended up in the Arrowverse. Swamp Thing could end up either in the Arrowverse himself, which he already has been established to exist in a parallel Earth, or he can appear in Justice League Dark
on HBO Max.
Yeah.
All I really intend is not necessarily for Swamp Thing to get a second season, but for that show to get more attention so that there is more interest in putting Swamp Thing in other projects going forward, specifically with Derek Mears and the actor who played Alec. I forget his name right now.
Andy Bean.
Thank you, Andy Bean. And Allison.
Crystal Reed.
Crystal Reed, thank you.
Great
who played
cast.
Allison in Swamp Thing. For those characters to come back.
Yeah.
Sure. The other news.
Allison. Who's Allison?
No, she played Allison. Crystal Reed, right?
So she mean Abby Arcane?
Yeah, whatever. I don't know where I'm getting.
I'm proud of
Leave
you.
me alone, Ben.
I'm proud of you.
Leave me alone.
You tried.
The other news is Superman and Lois is that they're going to have a crossover with Batwoman next year.
That's a little weird, but cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Batman versus Superwoman.
More because I'm surprised they're not doing a Batwoman Supergirl crossover first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Sandman.
Real quick, related to the CW stuff, because I know none of us watch it, but Supernatural's last season was split in half, and now that second half will air in the fall somehow for the rest of it, even though production didn't finish on all the episodes.
Oh.
So they're going to have to pick up production in like October or something to get the last episodes out.
Jeez.
Weird.
But there's been no official word on when production resumes for
Pushing
shows
it
like that.
to the limit.
Yeah.
Just let that show end. All right, Sandman. Guys, Sandman's pretty cool.
It is.
Sandman's a cool comic book written by Neil Gaiman. We know for a while that there was an Audible show coming out on Audible from based off of Sandman. They announced the cast for this Audible show. James McAvoy is going to play Morpheus. Riz Ahmed will play the Corinthian. Kat Dennings will play Death of the Endless. Taron Egerton will play John Constantine.
Hey, all right.
Samantha Morton is going to play Urania Blackwell. BB Newworth will play the Siamese Cat. Andy Serkis will play Matthew the Raven. And Michael Sheen will play Lucifer Morningstar.
Beautiful.
It's a great cast.
I'm gonna definitely listen to this.
The rest, there are more in the cast. I highly recommend you guys look it up. There's a lot of people, so I don't want to put it on here and bog down the news with just me reading all the names. But there is John Jones is in the thing. Arthur Darvill from Legend of Tomorrow is going to be in it as well. So tons of really cool people, and Neil Gaiman is going to narrate the show. So
that sounds extremely cool.
Rad.
He's going to adapt the first 2 graphic novels.
I'm into it.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Can't wait for that. We talked a bit about DC Universe Doom Patrol. Released that the second season will debut on HBO Max on June 25th, which is the same day it will debut on DC Universe. So cool. It's going to air at the same time on both.
Yo, that app's going to die.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
DC Universe is not long for this world.
All of its shows, except for I think Titans, are all on different networks. So it's like, yeah, what's the reason if all of your exclusive stuff isn't exclusive anymore?
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. DC Universe was made before AT&T purchased Time Warner.
No, for sure.
It's just bad timing.
And like, I would be willing to keep DC Universe around if it came as part of like a package with HBO Max to keep just the comic stuff. But it would have to like lower that price point down because it's more than Disney Plus. It's more than Quibi. That's hard.
Yeah.
Quibi. All right.
It's more than CBS All Access.
Peacock.
That's
Peacock's pretty expensive.
I just wanted to say it.
Peacock is if you're going for no ads. Can I real quick piggyback off that about some HBO Max news that super went under the radar and I barely caught it?
Hell yeah.
Sure.
Related to that, the same day that Doom Patrol's second season drops, J.G. Quintel created Regular Show for Cartoon Network. In 2017, he was supposed to have a new cartoon that was much more adult comedy oriented coming out on TBS called Close Enough. Apparently, that show is being dug off the shelf and finally releasing on HBO Max on June 25th.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I was on the shelf.
You know what?
Yes, I think I have no idea. TBS like never explained why, and JG Quintel like found out when HBO Max posted like a little announcement, and they sent it along to him, and it's like, hey, your show's going to be on HBO Max and like a little preview thing, and he had it on a video stream. He's like, oh, and I don't know if this means we'll get more seasons of the show if it's popular, but I hope so because it looked like it was going to be just as good quality as Regular Show.
Because I remember seeing an ad for Close Enough, like years ago.
Yeah,
and
me
then
too.
nothing.
Close enough.
And
Well-
then actually, I thought JG Quintel just
After we're done.
I just want to see
like
what
I thought JG Quintel just quit after regular show, and then after Close Enough didn't do anything. I thought he was just done.
They've had a whole season in the
Oh.
can for years.
it does look like it.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. It's been shelved since 2017. Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Okay. Sweet Tooth. More DC Comics news. Sweet Tooth, a popular Jeff Lemire comic book that ended at the end that came out around the tail end of Vertigo's golden age. We knew for a little bit that Robert Downey Jr. and Susan Downey's Team Downey production company has been shopping it around. Netflix has picked it up. They've already greenlit 8-hour-long episodes. Jim Mickle, who did Happen Leonard, and Beth Schwartz, who's the most recent showrunner on Arrow, will serve as showrunners for this show. Christine Convery, Nanzo Anazi, Adil Akhtar, and Will Forte will star in the series.
Cool.
James Brolin is going to be the narrator on the show.
Okay.
James Brolin.
James Brolin,
Wow.
Josh Brolin's dad.
Yeah. I'm like, good for him.
Follow the storybook adventures of Gus, part deer, part boy, who leaves his home in the forest to find the outside world ravaged by a cataclysmic event. He joins a ragtag family of humans and animal children hybrids like himself in search of answers about this new world and the mystery behind his hybrid origins. Yeah, Jeff Lemire posted about this and said that's really cool, and he said that there's also a new Sweet Tooth coming from DC Comics because of this. So
Nice.
No, that's sweet. Awesome.
Yeah.
From DC, right? It's just weird to be like the DC book, Sweet Tooth. I'm like, well, I mean, it's not wrong. It's just weird to see it's called DC.
right.
Yeah.
Where's Vertigo? Where's Black Label now? Where you at?
I mean, this will probably be Black Label.
Label's still running around. It's everything else that's dead.
Yeah.
Zoom, DC Zoom.
Killzone.
Oh, Jeff Johns recently came out and said the Killzone is not dead. That he's waiting for an artist to get to be free from his Marvel contract in order to start it.
Did he say which artist?
No.
Oh man, I gotta look at the exclusive Marvel artist. Ooh, it's gonna be good.
Because he talked about, he did an interview with DC Universe. My God, the Twitter account when DC Universe said, "Hey, we're doing a Q&A with Jeff Johns." Don't look at those comments.
People don't like Jeff Johns.
Oh no, but it's all Snyder cultists being like, "That's
yeah.
Jeff Johns destroyed DCE." Blah blah blah. My God.
They don't stop. They can't stop. They're like the Terminator.
I know, it's ridiculous. It's all released a Snyder cut. All how did the Snake Jeff Johns destroy DCEU?
Oh, what the hell?
Yeah,
So
it's wild. Apparently, there's this rumor going around that Jeff didn't want the No Man's Land and Wonder Woman. Whatever.
That's not true at all.
No.
We know the studio did not want that, and all the creatives were like, "You need to put that in the movie," and obviously it worked. What are they talking about?
I'll acknowledge that I'm harsh on Batman v Superman, maybe too harsh, but I haven't revisited it to really reassess. But I still, even with that, can't understand being so dedicated to one movie that's like Batman v Superman to the point where all these years later, I have formed this. They have robbed me of my one true god in film.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I don't understand that whole thing.
This is like slowly like a Castlevania cult where they're gonna like start sacrificing people to Zack Snyder, and like a bat's gonna come through a portal or something.
Oh God.
Anyway, but Jeff Johns
Batman v Superman. Every DC movie post the Batman v Superman Suicide Squad thing has been so much better.
Yeah, those 3 movies right there. Everything else is like, yeah, okay. I don't get it. Ignore the foundation. That's all you got to do.
I don't get it either. But anyway, so what I was saying was Jeff Johns did talk a little bit about Killzone and some other things, and Three Jokers and things like that. That's well worth a read. I enjoyed it. But yeah, I was surprised when I was like, Jeff Johns says Killzone's not dead. I'm like, seriously?
I was surprised I remember what it was called.
Right. All right. Last week we found out that Dwayne Johnson and hold on.
Emily Blunt?
Emily Blunt, thank you. I had it written down. Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt had signed on to a comic book adaptation called Ball and Chain by Scott Lobdell. Scott Lobdell and Ale Garza wrote the original 4-issue miniseries. Netflix has picked up the adaptation starring the two leads, and Emily V. Gordon, who wrote The Big Sick, will pen the screenplay.
Awesome. Cool.
Oh yeah, cool stuff. Dwayne Johnson just keeps on working.
He's a working man.
Hey, anything he does with Emily Blunt, I'm all for.
They obviously have good chemistry because like they made Jungle Cruise or whatever. They're like, hey, do you want to do that again?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Ball and Chain is about two a married couple who hate each other and they want to get a divorce, and then they get superpowers where they're forced to be together all the time, or else they don't have superpowers anymore.
Oh, it's like Hancock. But good.
All right, now comics, as in the books. Maestro is getting a new limited series coming from Marvel Comics. Maestro is the future version of the Hulk from Future Imperfect. Peter David is
Is Peter David writing it?
Yeah, Peter David is returning to write this 5-issue miniseries with Dale Cowan, I don't know, who wrote the Incredible Hulk, who drew the Incredible Hulk with Peter David, and German Peralta, who did
Jermaine Peralta is so good. He's like an upcoming legend, dude. He's so good.
He will also draw the book. It's going to go more in depth of the origin story of the character and kind of how he became from the Hulk to Maestro. And that's coming out in August.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Maestro is like a future version of the Hulk with a big ass beard, and he wears like cool chains, and he just loves to beat people up, and he's very cool.
The last time he was the villain in the most recent Old Man Logan series, right? He was one of them.
In the Ed Brisson one, not the Jeff Lemire one.
And he also was in the Secret Wars, where he masqueraded as Odin for a little while until he got mad.
Heck yeah.
That was a good issue. Okay. Some really shitty news. Well, that's not the shitty news yet. Here's the not the shitty news. Harley Quinn is ending this current run of comics by Sam Humphries with issue number 75, where she is going to go head to head with Joker's new girlfriend, Punchline. Who cares? That's in August.
That bums me out because the Harley Quinn show is literally all about getting from under the Joker's, reign and like becoming your own person. And now she's like, now in the comics, like, oh, I'm gonna go fight my ex husband's new girlfriend. Like, okay.
That's why you don't read that book. You read Harley and Ivy.
Yes.
It's interesting. Like, I don't have any strong feelings towards Punchline whatsoever. I understand that James Tynion was like, I miss Harley Quinn I miss Joker having a sidekick. I think that created a fun dynamic. I've not seen anything from Punchline in the brief time that she's been in comics. I've not seen anything that grabbed me like Harley Quinn grabbed me when she first showed up on the scene.
It's like super unique or makes her like stand out or anything. She's like, oh, it's another Harley Quinn. Okay.
I didn't even know that Joker had a new sidekick.
Yeah, she
and that's the punchline.
She officially has not debuted in the Batman book that she was supposed to debut in, but Hell Arisen was her first appearance. And I read Hell Arisen, and she was in that. So Batman 96 was supposed to be her first appearance before the whole COVID shit happened.
Yeah, that first appearance of Punchline is going for a lot of money because speculators are hilarious.
Well, I've got Hell Arisen 3 speculators. Give me a price.
Pop, pop. Look at that.
Pop, pop.
Pop, pop. Oh, dude from Harry Potter. Supergirl is releasing its last 2 issues digitally only.
Boo.
Deserves better.
Man, Sterling Gates, writer of The Flash and the original one of the Supergirl comics from the pre-New 52. He was on Twitter. Yeah, he was on Twitter. I was like, wow, so my entire Supergirl collection is now ruined because I'm never going to be able to finish my collection because those last 2 issues aren't going to come out. That's the type of thing that is like, that makes me so mad as a comic book collector. 2 issues are you're never going to get those. Like, I'm so mad.
The Terrifics will also release its last 3 issues. By the way, the Terrifics is still going on. The Terrifics is the last book of the New Age of Heroes to exist.
I had that first arc.
And it's going to release its last 3 issues digitally exclusive.
Boo.
It's such a bummer for, again, like we talked about this last week, for both the creators and for the people buying the comic.
Yeah.
It's a shitty situation. Do you not put the books out? Do you not make money? Like, what do you do?
Manufacture on demand.
Manufacture on demand seems like a great thing to do, but no one's willing to do it. So Here we are.
All right. Flash. The Flash is also coming to an end in a more amicable way.
Yes.
Flash will end. Joshua Williamson will end his Flash run with Finish Line, which is the last arc of his run. Issue 762 will be the last issue he does. That makes his run 105 issues total.
That's insane. Cool.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's going to see Barry face off against the Reverse Flash and his Legion of Zoom. So I kind of love that.
Fantastic. You know what? That makes me want to read that.
Apparently that run, and I've seen bits of it, have been very good.
It's super weird because, like, yeah, Flash is never a book that I hear like people talking about, but I always hear it's good, but I never hear like, oh, I recommend the Flash, but like people are reading it and it's good. And like, people should talk about Flash more if it's good, man.
I read the first arc because I was working at the comic book store at the time, and I didn't put it on my pull list until it was too late. So I fell very far behind, and I'm interested in picking it back up.
Right? Was that the very beginning?
Godspeed.
Yeah.
Godspeed? Yeah. I read like the first two arcs, I think. Yeah.
The Godspeed and the Black Hole arc. I mean, this is the run that brought Wally West back in a big way. Like he really tried to define what made Wallace West Kid Flash different from Wally West the Flash. He created the Speed Force thing that created Godspeed and some new characters. It was pretty good. The Flash comics never really feel like they should be going as long as they do sometimes, but I have always heard nothing but good things about this run. And I know it was impacted by Heroes in Crisis because editorial wanted them to use Wally West for Heroes in Crisis, so Joshua Williamson had to alter his plans for Wally, which sucks. But he was able to now that Didio's gone, he's able to use Bart and Jay, and Jesse Quick is coming back, and Max Mercury is coming back. Oh, wow. Like all these speedsters that have disappeared since the New 52 are all returning for this final arc Finish Line.
Yeah, I saw a picture of Bart. I was like, oh.
Yeah,
like,
happy to see Bart back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really cool. All right, moving on.
Glad he got to finish his long seminal run with no complications,
almost no complications. Yeah, but primarily, I think I'm going to pick it up in trade. I'd be interested in reading.
Do we know who's picking up the Flash next?
No, not yet. We'll probably find out about next month or so.
Okay.
Donny Cates has quick news this week. We haven't talked about Donny Cates' news in a while, but Donny Cates revealed that he is in fact working on a God Country spinoff.
Mm-hmm.
If fans of the show, longtime fans of the show, will know that God Country is what inducted us into the Cult of Cates. Thank you, Sparks.
Cult of Cates.
He's returning to the world of God Country with a different sword, a different character, and a different artist. Dylan Burnett is working on the series with him.
He did Cosmic Ghost Rider with him.
He did Cosmic Ghost Rider with him. Yes, you're right. We don't know much more about this series other than that, but I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, and he talked about also how that God Country script, like that's been done, and like that movie is moving forward. Obviously, not now because of the virus, but that is a movie we will see in potentially less than 3 years, which is crazy because we've like read like relatively recently.
And he wrote that script. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's usually always makes me happy when the creators are like fully involved. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some Dark Knight's Death Metal. This is the next event from DC Comics. This is a Wonder Woman centric event with the Justice League guest starring. This is the continuation of Justice League, of Hell Arisen, of Dark Knight's Metal, of Batman. This is the culmination of Scott Snyder's entire magnum opus at DC Comics, essentially.
This is his Secret Wars. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's his build-up of everything he's ever done into a big multiversal event.
Yeah, and what's so exciting about this, what got me really stoked about this week, is that he talked about how like this book was being pushed under the rug while Didio was there because Didio wanted to focus on 5G and things like that. So he was just like, "You're doing your own thing, just do whatever." And so it was kind of a small event, but now that Didio's gone, it's ballooned into the major event of the DC universe. He's able to make Doomsday Clock part of it. He's able to make all these desperate storylines that were just not connected at all, and now finally kind of like bring them all into the story as it should be. Like we talked about Doomsday Clock, it should matter. This should matter also. So I think that's really exciting that it became bigger in scope, and it became something that mattered to the publishing line in total.
Rebirth 2.5.
Yeah, well, I don't. He's talked about how like there's not going to be like major ramifications for the DC universe after the fact. What is that?
That's you, bud.
That's not me.
That's Ben then.
Oh no, that Fan's Blair knows.
Oh, okay.
That is some wicked thoughts.
I was like, excuse me. Yeah. Anyway, I think it's really cool that that these events that we talked about that should matter are actually going to matter, and it's not like the status quo is going to change for the DC universe forever. It's like that happens at the end of every event. But Scott Snyder himself is talking like, no, after this, like I'm doing something smaller. I'm doing like Dick Grayson stories. I'm not doing major epic again. This is done.
Again, after again, like Secret Wars, once you collapse your entire multiverse, you can't get bigger than that. That is the biggest you literally can go. You can't get bigger than destroying all of reality. There's no bigger than that. Yeah. So I'd hope you do something small.
Well, I mean, to be fair, with the Secret Wars comparison, this is not destroying reality. This is just remade Earth Prime, and there it is. It is like Secret War. It's like the arc before Secret Wars when like the realities were being destroyed. So it's like they're trying to stop the destruction of the multiverse.
Okay, so it's time runs out. The Avengers arc time.
It's essentially time runs out because Perpetua is attacking the multiverse, trying to make it into the structure of Doom. And anyway, I'm super stoked because there's a dinosaur as Batman. Dark Knight. So it's now 7 issues instead of 6. Is the news. And also they've announced 2 one-shot specials. Dark Knight's Death Metal Guidebook. I love a good guidebook. Multiverse had a guidebook. It was awesome. Mm-hmm. As Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, and other heroes fight to survive in the strange new landscape of an Earth turned upside down and shrouded in a realm of darkness, one cloaked figure has been observing from the sidelines, creating a guidebook to this new world and its evil leaders. Find out how Wonder Woman became the Queen of Hell. Discover how Batman finds the Black Lantern ring, and see what happens when Harley Quinn takes charge of the Wasteland, finding love in the process. All this and more in this jam-packed issue exploring the New World Order. It's going to feature creative talents such as Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, Joshua Williamson, Becky Cloonan, Vita Ayala, Chip Zdarsky, Christopher Priest, Doug Mankey, Dan Panosian, Eduardo Riso, and Carrie Randolph.
Nice.
The all-star cast of creators.
Did you say Warren Ellis?
Warren Ellis is in the next one.
Oh, okay.
So Warren Ellis is working on Dark Knight's Death Metal Legends of the Dark Knight. Legends of the Dark Knights. In this collection of short tales where demons dwell and reality is overrun by monstrous versions of the Dark Knight, learn the terrifying secrets of the new bats out of hell and other creatures of the night, like Robin King, whose origin is unimaginable. Plus, read about the secret buried beneath Castle Bat, the sentient Batmobile, and how did Batman turn into a killer robot dinosaur? That's the story that Warren Ellis is writing. We'll also feature work from Snyder, Tynion, and Williamson, in addition to Peter J. Tomasi, Warren Ellis, Garth Ennis, Daniel Warren Johnson, Frank Thierry, Tony S. Daniel, Jim Chung, Joel Jones, Riley Rossmo, and Francesco Francavilla.
A lot of people.
A lot of good talent, I think. I'm super stoked.
I am too. It feels to me like a little bit of a repeat of Dark Knight's Metal, where we're going to get more books just featuring more evil Batman, which is cool as long as the stories are good.
Yeah.
I just have this feeling like this all is familiar to me. Nothing is original about this. And of course, like the Perpetua stuff, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the overall, what everything about it is. I hope the book itself is more original than everything that is that's around it. Because to me, this feels like Dark Knight's Metal again. And I'm like, that's cool. That's cool, I guess. But like that book did not end well for me.
Civil War 2.
Yeah, I don't need a Civil War 2. And Scott Snyder is definitely better about that than other creators. But I just want to be proven wrong.
I remember when we did our discussion on Dark Knight's Metal, I know I felt that while it was a good event, when we were getting into like the last couple issues, I felt like plenty of things were too rushed in the writing. Certainly like it was spread too thin amongst too many characters to actually give them the devoted time to feel like the event mattered in the moment to them, not in the long run, but in the moment. And that was an issue that I had. And I hope that doesn't feel the same, even though this sounds like it's even grander in scale and scope, which is where I'm like,
that's my worry. Yeah.
is that gonna happen again?
Sure.
I trust Scott Snyder more than anyone to do this kind of thing. I hope it's not a rehash. I hope not.
Yeah, no, I understand. I do think that it is going to feel similar because it is once again the Batman who laughs, and then but Perpetua does throw a wrench in the whole thing, and Wally West as Dr. Manhattan stuff. While we haven't been too crazy about it, does throw a spanner in the works of that whole thing. Like, I do think that there's enough there, and also we don't know everything about the book. We really know very little. So I think it's. The worry is there, but I don't feel the same worry, and that could just be like I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Like, they show me Bat-Thulu and Dinosaur Batman and a Batman who turned himself into the city of Gotham. Like,
that's dope as hell. We did this 2 years ago, is what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if all this was one like long event or something, or this event happened sooner to when the Metal did happen, I might not feel as I do now. But it feels like enough time has passed where I'm like, oh, we're just doing it again. But with a T-Rex this time.
Or another point I was going to make is that I kind of wish, even though I know there's been good stuff with him in the time between, I wish that the Batman Who Laughs had not resurfaced until now.
That would be cool, yeah. Like, Joker took a year off after his events with Batman, and then a bunch of stuff happened. Like, but there's literally a new Batman Superman book where he is the bad guy, and so like he is all around a lot. He is around a lot. But again, he's pretty cool. I just. We'll see. When is it coming out?
August. These books are coming. This book is coming out in August. I think they are hoping that Dark Knight's Death Metal comes out in July.
Oh my God, we're gonna have Dark Knight's Metal and X of Creations around the same time. It's gonna be super event. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I guess you guys all valid points, and I don't disagree at all. And I don't want to sound like I'm even attempting to come back.
You're excited for it. Like, I don't want to take away my excitement. It's just like I just feel like
I just feel like I've not read anything in the run that's made me feel disappointed or bad or anything. So going into this, like, I've got nothing but like the momentum of excitement that went from Batman, Superman to Justice League to Hell Arisen, like all that, like it's just been progressive. And then seeing Doomsday Clock is now part of that equation, like seeing all that kind of like grow is just kind of plateaued to death metal. It does have me more excited than cautious. And that could be a recipe for disaster. Who knows?
I hope it's not. I hope this is the big epic event that it turns out to be. Like, I want that.
Big epic one that feels like a consequence of actions that had come before, not like Doomsday Clock was not. Yeah, I think my chief concern remains that just it sounds very large, and just based on the previous metal event, I'm not as encouraged that the individual arcs of characters are going to land. I feel like that'll probably get a little bit in the wash like last time.
Yeah,
and that's a bummer.
They did add an extra issue. Maybe that can alleviate some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Again, Secret Wars did the exact same thing. It was an 8-issue mini, and then halfway through it became a 9-issue mini. So I'm like, you got real estate, use it.
Yeah.
We're all excited for the new Dune movie. So let's get excited for this now. Boom Studios is adapting the first prequel novel, Dune: House Atreides, into a 12-issue maxi series. This is going to be adapted from the Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson prequel novel with the same name. The story focuses on a young Leto Atreides, who is Oscar Isaac in the movie, and his future bodyguard Duncan Idaho, Jason Momoa in the movie, as they discover their shared destiny in a galaxy torn apart by revolution and political strife. No creative team has been announced as of yet.
What I like about this is that Brian Herbert and Kevin Anderson, like, they are adapting the book, not like some Marvel writer or Boom writer. Like, it's them; they're the writers for the book. So that gives me immense hope for this book being good, because they know what's important to the story to put into a small book.
Brian Herbert is also adapting the Dune novel into those 3 graphic novels.
Yeah, he's heavily involved. That's really cool.
But what makes me excited is that there's this huge push for Dune, and that makes me feel like this is going to be a movie that's going to matter.
I sincerely hope so, because Denis Villeneuve has made nothing but excellent movies. Not a single one of them has been profitable. Yeah. That dude makes really great movies that nobody sees except for film nerds, like Blade Runner, Arrival, Sicario. These are all great movies nobody sees. Yeah. Dune is the same way. Dune is, people know Dune, but people don't care about Dune. So I'm really scared. The marketing has to be good. The movie has to look exceptional. And people like the cast. Like once you show Jason Momoa and like Timothy Chalamet and Oscar Isaac on screen doing cool Star Wars shit, that's when people are going to get on board. But until now, I don't think anyone really cares except for people who already know about it. So I hope like this is the next Star Wars because it has the potential to be massive.
I know someone said that more so than the next Star Wars. Someone said that this has the potential to be this generation's Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, that's even better. Yes, a big epic. Yeah.
If you look at Lord of the Rings, like those are books that like barely book nerds read, and you throw Lord of the Rings as this, and now it's like one of the greatest action adventure fantasy stories of all time.
Oscar-winning movie of the year, Return of the King. Never forget. Never forget. That's the last time the Oscars were great.
Well, didn't all three films win like a whole bunch of Oscars?
No,
but not necessarily Best Picture.
Technical awards, yes, but Return of the King like swept everything almost.
Yeah, Return of the King won 12 Oscars.
I remember Return of the King winning Best Picture.
The movie's very good.
It is very good.
All right, let's get some trailers.
Wait, real quick, one last thing. You didn't mention it. I really want to mention it because I care about it. Reportedly, Tartakovsky's Popeye is being brought back into development with King Pictures and no longer with Sony Pictures.
I saw
Animation.
That too.
It was reported in a lot of places, so I kind of believe it's true. And we know Tartakovsky has left directing duties on Hotel Transylvania 4 after staying there for too long, in his opinion, because he meant to leave at 3, but he stuck around for 3. So he's moving on to other projects, as he said, and I'm so hopeful that this is going to come to fruition because that Popeye demo reel of his animation is dope as hell.
It is beautiful, man. Ben, have you ever seen it?
No, I haven't. I think I saw a quick little screenshot of it on Twitter about how Kenny Tartakovsky Popeye come back.
Just go to YouTube. Yeah, I think it's beautiful.
I think it's from 2016, and it's just like a demo reel of animation for a Popeye film that Tartakovsky wanted to do with Sony Pictures Animation, and instead they were like, we'd rather you just be doing Hotel Transylvania right now, thanks. But the Popeye rights have reverted to King Pictures, and apparently Tartakovsky is over there wanting to put this back together.
That's good.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
I really think so.
Olive oil.
All right, trailers. We'll talk about these first. So, Ju-on: Origins is the new story in the Grudge, the Japanese version of the Grudge, the original Grudge thing. It's about more of a mockumentary type situation, kind of a Blair Witch series on Netflix about kind of like the quote unquote true story for how what happened at that house. It looks really interesting, I think.
Yeah. This is the trend of horror movies getting reboots and TV shows like Chucky and the other one we talked about, and then we got this one where we just had a Grudge remake in January that apparently is awful, and now you got this new TV show that I think looks awesome.
Right.
I'm very interested in the
Of course,
show.
it helps that these ones are being developed in totally different markets.
It's just funny.
This is an Origins mockumentary about the Japanese versions. Ju-on.
They come out so close to each other. It's funny.
I do like this approach. This is very. I think this is a nice take for them to do.
It's like very
minimalist
in a way,
and like the idea of revisiting it as like we want to learn the real story behind that very popular horror movie, and it's so like Ju-on, the original Grudge, is a film in this universe.
It's High School Musical, the musical, the show.
Yeah, and then they're researching it, and it turns out it's actually way worse.
That's amazing. I love that.
That's so good.
I thought this looked really intriguing. I've never seen the original Japanese versions, but I'm engaged. I saw real quickly talked about Netflix adaptations. I saw someone say that because I don't know why something you said reminded me of the Death Note adaptations, the Japanese Death Note adaptations, those movies are spectacular. But I saw someone on Twitter mention that the Netflix movie is the best adaptation of Death Note, and I wanted to slap them over the face.
Listen, people have opinions, and they're often wrong. It's just a fact of life. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you're just wrong.
God, it was.
I recently joked with all the guys I watch anime with. We did a 5-minute tangent just talking about how bad the Netflix Death Note film was.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick, but don't forget, guys, the same guy who directed Death Note's directing King Kong vs. Godzilla.
He's also directed good things, right?
He didn't write the script, and the script is the problem.
All right. Anyway, so yeah. Twilight Zone season 2.
It looks.
Any of us seen season 1?
Yeah, I haven't seen season 1 either, so I don't have a ton to contribute about. I like the cast. This still looks appealing to me. I don't have CBS All Access, so I haven't watched Twilight Zone. That's really just what it comes down to.
I was gonna watch it, but I'd never heard good things about it.
So same here. I watched
episodes, not the season as a whole. And that's the thing is but to be fair, that's kind of true of old Twilight Zone. When it was coming out. At this point, everyone's nostalgic about it and it considers it old timey, so it's all of a certain quality, and all the episodes there's standouts, but all the episodes are more or less worth watching in people's opinion. But when Twilight Zone was coming out, a lot of people felt like this episode was really great and that episode was okay. And it's because a lot of the things kind of play to different appeals of both what people fear and the kind of stories that interest people. And so because Twilight Zone can be so broad in its concepts, not every episode is usually going to work for you. Right. And that's a lot more of what I heard from the first season. Again, I haven't watched it, but what I heard from the first season is I heard a lot of oh, that episode was really good. That episode was really good. That 2-parter, things like that.
Sure. Yeah, this season has another all-star cast, much like the last season. We have Joel McHale is in this one.
Yes.
Going back to Community. It looked engaging. Looked like there's some more adaptations of old Twilight Zone episodes like the last season. I know they did 30,000 Feet. Terror at 30,000 Feet.
Yeah.
Again with Adam Scott. So.
Wing.
Yeah. I definitely. I still want to watch it. I still want to check out the show on a whole. Nothing has been said to deter me entirely from doing so. I just don't have CBS All Access.
Yep.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. Now we're in the video games section of the episode. The Unreal. I want to start here. The Unreal 5 tech demo was released online. This looks incredible.
Yes.
I think you mean it looked unreal.
All right, bye guys.
So yeah, it's really funny that they put this out. I almost thought it was on purpose. They put this out the week after the Xbox event because the entire internet was pretty much disappointed with that event, showing what the next generation could look like. So Unreal is hey guys, this is coming out next year. Some games are currently using it for the next generation of games. Here's a little taste of what it looks like, and it to me looked like what next generation should look like. Incredible. Talk about triangles. You guys see all those triangles? Too many triangles.
Well, I appreciate the way that they broke down all the different elements and how they can you can do this and it just works throughout the day. You can have the light move to here or to here and it changes everything and it all works the way it should.
Lighting, resolution, textures, all that stuff is the best that it's ever going to be, or for the current time.
Well, they talked about we kind of patterned this to be with cinematic engines and instead of just game engines like they would in the past. This is the type of texture that you would see in a film using CGI,
we have the power now. We can make our PC, PS5, Xboxes so powerful that instead of using video game assets, we can use cinematic assets.
Right.
Which is awesome.
Where the cinematic and the gameplay look like they are now the same.
Yeah. Especially the rocks are falling and it's all natural. The lighting look that ground almost looks straight up just real.
And that goes back to a little bit like what we talked about the Mandalorian, how the Mandalorian uses the Unreal Engine with its with the Void, with the set that it has. That's technically the stuff that they use in the Mandalorian is for video games.
Yeah.
And you see what type of things the video game textures can look like now. There's no difference.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while before we see the implementation of this. But in 2 years, baby, games are gonna look real good.
So God of War, the next God of War game is gonna look so good.
Oh my god, yeah.
I hope and it looks like I'm going from cinematic into gameplay seamlessly. God of War was close already.
It was pretty good.
But at this point, if it can be at this level where I'm just like, I don't even know where the movie begins and I begin.
Even though God of War came out in 2018, the PS4 is like 6 years old almost at that point. Like it's 5 years old at that point. Like it's using old graphics, old engine. So now starting from the ground up, dude, like now I'm not worried about next gen anymore. Not that I really was, but like this is what I was waiting for.
After seeing this and how they were saying like this is what the Unreal 5 Engine 5 can do on the PlayStation 5, I'm blown away. It just looks so pretty. And it looks so like just seamlessly like just going through, like you see it's like you what Sparks was saying or Brandon something about God of War. You go from cinematic to gameplay. It reminded me a bit of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like the opening movie, it looks gorgeous, but later on in the game, you can tell where it's like cinematic gameplay. You can tell the difference, and just having it just go seamlessly in. I'm excited. I can't wait.
I remember God of War 3, and when the opening cinematic starts in God of War 3, and like the big deal was that this is what the game is going to look like, because before that, like it was cinematics looked gorgeous, gameplay looked good, because they put a lot of things into the cinematics. And then when I was watching the opening cinematic of God of War 3 starts, and it's like, oh, that's what the game looks like. This is game engine cinematic. That's so cool. How far we've come.
It's amazing.
All right. Speaking of PlayStation, Ghost of Tsushima had an 18-minute gameplay demo. I didn't watch all 18 minutes, though. I do intend to go back and watch the bits I didn't read. I skipped around a bit.
So did I.
Looks beautiful. Looks like a lot of fun. I'm very excited for this game.
Yeah, as someone who just beat Assassin's Creed Odyssey, hey guys, this looks exactly like Assassin's Creed and The Witcher, and that's not a bad thing. That's fantastic. That means that the gameplay is going to be great. You can do stealth, you can do open combat, you ride horses, customization, all that open world, 21st century stuff. It's all there. Looks good. It looks like
I really like how they're talking about, like, we wanted a way for the game to like tell you how to explore the map a little, to follow the narrative. And like the wind, you follow the wind. But the thing that really like got me super stoked is the black and white grain filter.
Yeah.
Not only can you do black and white, but it also is going to have an original Japanese track. And this might be the only game I've ever done that where I might play like a black and white Japanese version of it. Because that sounds like watching like an old Kurosawa movie. That sounds so cool.
Right.
That was
it's gonna have the rain with the wind and the rain. Like I want that. That's
the fact that you're able to play this game in black and white, like an old 1950s samurai film. I'm like, I actually might do that because that looks pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. Paper Mario: The Origami King was announced this week for July 17th release date. I've not played any Mario game ever, so you guys.
Any Mario game?
Not even Super Mario Bros.
Stop it.
Does that count?
That counts.
Yes. It's called Mario
Kart.
And wow, okay, I'm still getting the fact that you never played the original Super Mario Bros. Everyone's played the original Super Mario Bros.
The first console I got was a PlayStation 2 that had Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
It's Leviosa.
To be fair, I'm much like Brandon. It was a long time before I played Super Mario Bros.
Bro, we're
I did
gamers.
not play it when it came out.
Ben, we're gamers, bro. We were born with a controller.
I am not a gamer.
Right.
I like video games. My parents didn't get me a console for a very long time.
Yeah.
My mom neglected me, so I got a console. Realism.
Concerned. Paper Mario.
I give this guy a goofy thing because this is getting real.
This is too real. So I love the Paper Mario franchise. I cannot wait for this game. It looks really charming. The fun thing about the Paper Mario games is that it utilizes the like how you are a piece of paper, so you fall through grates and you can like walk alongside walls and just like fun things like that. And now transforming with origami. It just looks like another really charming game. The thing that's really funny is there have been no more announced Nintendo games for this year. So like big games. So everyone's like, what's Nintendo going to release? Paper Mario comes out in 2 months. So now everyone's just like, oh, so they're just going to tell us a game's coming out and then it's going to be out. Because coronavirus has effed the world up in terms of release dates. So this is coming out in 2 months. Very excited.
I wonder if they were hoping to make a larger E3 presence or around E3 announcement presence.
Because
now that it's pulled out of existence. They're maybe thinking maybe the best way to do this is just focus on one at a time as we go down the line.
Yeah,
just let them get excited right at the moment.
They did that with Animal Crossing and it worked out.
Well, also Animal Crossing was kind of like catching lightning in a bottle because right when Animal Crossing came out, all the lockdowns came in, so people were like, "What are we gonna do? Guess we gotta play Animal Crossing." But going back to Paper Mario and the Origami King, it also looks like they're going back to, because a lot of Paper Mario fans, they are bitching and moaning about the last few games because it doesn't have the Super Mario RPG qualities of the games.
It's me. I'm the guy.
Oh, okay. Because a lot of people, because Paper Mario was essentially a spiritual sequel to Super Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo. And just by looking at this trailer, it looks like they're bringing some of those RPG mechanics back.
Yeah, turn-based combat. That's what makes those first couple Paper Mario games real great.
Yeah,
and then they turn them into regular Mario games where they're flat. I'm like, but that's just a different game now. Don't call it Paper Mario. Yeah. That's okay.
I mean, I'm looking forward to the game. I've never really gotten into the Paper Mario games, so I'm like, okay. I mean, I know people who are huge fans of Paper Mario, and they're stoked for this one. So it's like, hey, good for you guys.
I really enjoyed the last one. So
was that super? Which one was that?
That was is that the Wii or Wii U?
There was the Wii U one.
Yeah,
Super Paper Mario for the Wii U.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Where you would turn to turn the screen so that it's flat but it's facing the other way, and that allowed you to move in this space. So it was like you'd be here or you'd be here. You can go this way or you can go this way.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. I know what you're talking about.
This just confirms all those rumors that we talked about a couple weeks ago. Because they just announced this Paper Mario game, and hey, they said there was going to be a new Paper Mario game, so get ready for all those Mario remasters coming soon.
Still waiting on those Sonic announcements.
Yeah.
All right, and this week the world was surprised by the announcement of Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remake.
Hell yeah!
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Millions and millions of 25 to 45-year-old emo skateboard kids. Or if you grew up just playing Tony Hawk or anything, just like cheered like next to their kids eating cereal. Because like they made a Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 and it's shit. It's horrible. It's real bad. Nobody liked it. So now they're doing the remix of their first two games. Plus they're implementing stuff from Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, like reverse and stuff like that. So it is the best the Tony Hawk skating has ever been in the first two games remastered. So like this is just everything you could have wanted, baby. I had a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater for my Nintendo 64, the blue cartridge. I played that thing so much. I loved that game so much. That's the reason I got a skateboard, and then the same day I started
skating too. I started skating because of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Hold on, Ben, Ryan?
Yeah.
Say that again.
I said I could have swore I've told the story before, but I used to play Tony Hawk a lot, and then I visited my grandpa, and we went to Venice Beach, and he bought me a skateboard because I wanted to learn how to skateboard. This very same day, I kicked away my skateboard, and somebody ran it over. So I lost a skateboard the same day that I bought it, and I never skateboarded again.
Wow, I had a Dragon Ball Z skateboard.
That's awesome.
My dad tried to teach me because again, I played Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Like I had a YMCA when I grew up, but I had consoles, and I would play those consoles sometimes. That's actually a fun fact where I met Jeremy. We had a fun discussion about a cow scooper on a train, which is the grate in the front of a train, one of those old timey trains called a cow scooper that they were meant to like hit cows on the way to the train on the path of the train.
Oh, that seems violent.
Oh, yeah. I thought that was for snow.
Nope, it's for cows.
I did not know that. That's
for both.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I played those games that like the YMCA would go in and.
I didn't know the YMCA had consoles. I learned something today.
The one over at my. Oh, sorry, it was just called the Youth Center. I don't know why I said what. It's just called the Youth Center of Pacific Grove Youth Center.
It's fun to stay there.
All right, shall we?
Oh my God! You guys saw the collector's edition for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2?
Yeah.
How it comes with the deck from one of the skateboards in the game?
So either that skateboard deck is extremely cheap and it's going to break very easily, or they're giving away a really great value because it's two games and a skateboard deck for $100. And a skateboard deck is expensive on its own for a good one. So I
would assume that skateboard deck it's meant for you to hang, because you know how some people hang their skateboard decks?
Yeah.
I would assume they're like, no, just hang it. But if they're like, no, you can actually skate on this. Ooh.
I mean, I would assume if you're getting a skateboard game and you're getting a skateboard deck, they want you to skateboard on the skateboard.
If you can actually skate on it, Ben's going to pick up skateboarding again.
Probably.
All right. Shall we? Anything else you guys wanted to add, or should we get into our main topic?
Let's do it. Let's scoop it up.
All right,
Speaking
guys.
at Venice Beach.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of, no, I don't know why I started that way. You interrupted me. Full spoilers from here on out for the movie Scoob. This was initially supposed to have a theatrical release, but it went straight to DVD same day, as it was supposed to be in theaters.
Not straight to DVD, straight to digital.
VOD. So full spoilers from here on out. So if you don't want to know anything about this movie, stop listening, stop watching, stop whatever you're doing, and skip ahead to the next bit. Nobody's watching this right now, so I can say that. Skip ahead to the next bit. Time codes will be in the description below.
Yeah, you can't skip live.
No. So full spoilers from here on out for Scoob, the first movie in the Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe.
And the first movie we're reviewing in quarantine.
Yes,
For real.
For real,
No,
yeah.
we reviewed Mortal Kombat: Scorpion's Revenge.
Oh, well, all right.
That's also technically straight to
A
video.
real movie.
All movies are real movies.
All movies are real movies, exactly. Okay, so let's get into some initial thoughts around the horn. Ben, since you're right next to my screen,
Oh,
what'd you
okay. I didn't like it.
okay.
I did not like this. There were parts of it that I did enjoy, but on the whole, I'm like, it's
No,
it's
damn,
awesome.
cool. All right.
All right, Sparks.
I thought it was fine to good.
Right.
I don't care about Scooby-Doo. I had a pretty good time.
I thought it was perfectly acceptable as a movie. I'm very middle of the road of this movie. Let's get into it. This one is to me, and knowing who the creative team was after watching it, it feels like one of the more recent straight to DVD, straight to VOD Scooby-Doo movies, and they've all just been kind of fine. Like the talent is just not really there to make them great like they used to be when we were a kid.
The talent for Scooby-Doo is in the shows.
Yeah,
Like,
there is.
Guess Who and Be Cool Scooby-Doo.
There's some nice callback. Like there's a Hex Girls poster,
Yeah,
and
I saw that.
that was cool. The
That was like one of the only references that I'm like, hey, I know about the Hex Girls. Cool,
the
look at
opening
that.
I think is really cool with all the different monsters from the original show. I thought that was neat seeing them rendered.
Recreating for the most part, the classic Scooby-Doo Where Are You intro in
Yeah.
this animation style. Very cute.
Honestly,
I really like it.
everything up until the Simon Cowell moment, I was really liking it.
Since you-
Everything up until Simon Cowell, I was like, I don't see the problem with this movie. There it is.
Since you
second-
brought it up, I want to say, I hate Simon Cowell cameos. Now, I have nothing against Simon Cowell as a human being, or a person, or a TV host, or whatever he is. I hate every single time he is in a movie as a cameo, especially when he's a voice. Because he never. Did you guys ever see Shrek 2? You guys have seen Shrek.
Yeah.
I need a
He
hero.
had a cameo in Shrek 2, and he's awful. He's so
It's a bonus feature, Shrek Far, Far Away Idol.
yeah, Shrek Far, Far Away Idol. He has a
15
cameo in that.
years ago, by the way.
Which is when this kind of cameo was appropriate.
Yes.
And now it's not.
We were
I
talking
hated it.
about there are a dozen different celebrities you can do to make this more funny and relevant. Like it feels, for me, it's the only thing that's super out of place for the whole movie. Like it just like it's a 20-year-old joke with a celebrity that kids do not know or don't care about. 15 years ago, kids wouldn't care about it either. It's just so baffling that this was the final choice for this movie, considering a lot of the other jokes are very modern. There's Tinder jokes, there's very like modern adult jokes, but you have this 15-year-old American Idol joke. I am baffled by the choice of it. I really am, because it's through the whole movie. It's a recurring joke.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did they accept this when everything else is not like this?
Actually, I agree with Ryan because the whole up until Simon Cowell,
We all agree with
what? Yeah.
We all agree with Ryan on this point.
I mean, seriously, even I would watch. I'm not a huge Scooby-Doo fan. I like Scooby-Doo. I think Scooby-Doo is fine, but I don't gravitate towards Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
But when I saw the opening, like how they remade the opening for Scooby-Doo Where Are You, I was like, that is kind of cool. That is cool how they busted their first bad guy in a haunted house. That's neat. And then Simon Cowell shows up and ruins the whole damn thing for me.
even though they screw up Scooby's name, I appreciate how they all met.
Yeah.
I am not crazy about Scooby and Shaggy's meeting in the beginning. So I'm not as 100% in the until Simon Cowell, it was great. I'm like, once the kids were hanging out together, it was good. Shaggy and Scooby, it's not. I didn't like the way they handled the idea of Shaggy being alone. It felt really cliche. It felt really lame. Nothing unique about it. About Shaggy being sad and alone on Venice Beach just didn't work for me. And why
does it have to be Venice?
That's such a weird, not very Scooby-Doo location for those characters.
Yeah.
Like he could have just as easily been a boy who had no friends in a quiet suburb town, which is how it kind of is. And then comes upon anyway. That didn't do a lot for me.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. Sparks and I, Ryan and Ben have said that they're not great. They're not huge Scooby-Doo fans. Sparks and I think it's fair to say that you and I are the biggest Scooby-Doo fans in the group. You and I love Scooby-Doo.
I love Scooby-Doo. Yeah,
I think Scooby-Doo is great. Real quickly, I spoke about Return to Zombie Island, the sequel to the Zombie Island direct-to-DVD movie from Scooby-Doo. I forgot to mention that they retconned Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, which really messed with me, and I've been thinking about it forever. And I wanted to bring it up real quickly because in Scooby-Doo Return to Zombie Island, they're like, "Oh yeah, remember when we went to this island when I was doing my college internship at the news station?" Retconning the idea that on Zombie Island was just them older and having grown apart. And I thought that was really okay. So remember in Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, they've grown apart. They don't talk to each other anymore. And Daphne has a job as a reporter.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and so Daphne has a job as a reporter. They in Return to Zombie Island, they're like, "Oh yeah, remember when I had that internship for that college internship?"
Right.
And to bring it to Scoob, they kind of have this issue where they don't feel like kids anymore, even though everyone who talks to them talk about I would have gotten away with it with one for you pesky kids. They don't feel like they're kids anymore. And they haven't for so long, and yet they keep going with this idea that they're supposed to be kids. And I wonder if perhaps they should age up these characters at this point.
How well, Fred's driving a car, so he's got to be a teenager.
They're in their 20s. Like in Scoob, they're in their.
Are they in their 20s? Really?
They'd have to be.
I thought they would have been like 18 years old, like high schoolers or something.
In the original Scooby-Doo,
kids too.
Yeah, in the original Scooby-Doo, I think they're not. I don't think they're supposed to be 20 yet, but they're almost there.
I'm not talking about original Scooby-Doo. I'm talking about this.
No, I know, but that became prevalent. The idea that they're supposed to be kids doing this whole thing. I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you pesky kids.
Honestly, this follows a similar logic of where they would be in their lives to the live action Scooby-Doo film.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sparks, can I ask you a question? As a Scooby-Doo fan, when the hell did Fred get so obsessive over his truck?
Oh, I can tell you. I can tell you exactly when, and I love it. And it's called Scooby-Doo Franken-Creepy.
What the hell?
Straight to DVD Scooby-Doo adventures that I happened to come upon and go, oh shit, this one's actually really good.
Yeah.
So Be Cool Scooby-Doo carried on this trait as well, and I think it's referenced in Guess Who Scooby-Doo Guess Who as well. The thing is that I wanted to give Scoob credit. Fred and Daphne have evolved as characters across the Scooby-Doo properties over time. Daphne has become much more outgoing and much more outlandish. She's much more willing to find weird ways to solve problems and explore her own sense of presence in the group. And that in Be Cool Scooby-Doo has been taken to the extremes, but in other properties it's been done as well, where she's less of the obsessed about her look or things like that. Daphne is much more a character. So Scoob's particular highlight that I liked is when she's sitting in the chair trying to recreate what Shaggy and Scooby would do. And I'm like, this is the Daphne I like now. This is a Daphne who has a character. and who ends up befriending the little robot. That works for me because that feels like Daphne has progressed as a character.
Yeah.
Fred has become less of just like the straight man and has become a little bit more of his own goofball. They play a little bit more into the fact that like he's useful, but he's not bright.
Yeah.
Not as bright as Velma or Daphne necessarily. And they've played a lot further into that. And the other thing is he loves the Mystery Machine. He loves the Mystery Machine like nobody's business.
I like that.
The bit is in Franken-Creepy. The Mystery Machine breaks down badly at the beginning of the film. And Fred, throughout the film, keeps having flashbacks about the moment it broke down. But at each flashback, the moment of breakdown becomes much more catastrophic, to the point where the last one is an explosion scene from space. You see how like Fred's obsession with the Mystery Machine becomes that. So I'm glad that those characteristics are there because they make Fred and Daphne interesting. That being said, I thought those characters were really good. Velma, on the other hand, didn't even feel like Velma to me, other than the fact that the lines she spoke sounded like things Velma would say. But the character didn't feel like Velma at all. Velma at this point, especially since Kate Micucci has been doing it, feels more like somebody who sits somewhere on the spectrum and it has a social awkwardness level. A little more like Abed from Community. That's Velma. That was not Velma and Scoob.
She's very confident.
I remember I was talking to Zara about this, but you know, this is probably like the 5th or 6th time that I've seen a young female character idolize Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And I'd like to know, as not being a youth myself, is that a thing that young girls, is that a person young girls idolize like that? Ruth Bader Ginsburg? I had no idea. It always kind of
like a Wonder Woman level, but like she's much like AOC. She's an important person to young girls because it gives them hope about women can achieve power in politics.
Yeah, I think in the last 5 years, there's been a lot more presence given to that. Not when you and I were in high school, Brandon.
Sure.
That wasn't someone that the girls were idolizing or talking about as much.
I want to be clear. It's not a criticism at all. It is just an out of touch old man talking about a kid's movie.
No, yeah,
sure.
And it's just me asking a question because that was something I was just not aware of.
Yeah.
I'll just really broad stroke this real quick. My biggest problem with this film overall is 2 things. One, it just feels like I was trying to be sold, even though I knew we were getting a Hanna-Barbera Cinematic Universe setup film. I feel like I was still being sold on I'm getting a Scooby-Doo film that happens to connect to these Hanna-Barbera properties. This is not a Scooby-Doo movie. This is a Hanna-Barbera launching pad through the lens of Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
And I wanted a Scooby-Doo movie. But that being said, the other thing that just doesn't work for me is that the bit of Shaggy and Scooby being removed from the group because they don't quite fit has been done before, and it's been written better. And this is not written as well as I want it to be. And the bones of a good script for Scooby-Doo of a good movie for that are here. There should have been more of Shaggy relating to the Blue Falcon because they're in a similar situation.
Yeah.
They do one bit of it, but they don't let it actually play out its arc for both of them together, which is what it should have been. There should have been a comparison between Scooby-Doo and Dino-Mutt. There was the room to explore these character arcs because they're being brought together about how they relate to each other. Those things could have happened, but they didn't write it that way. Yeah. And Shaggy and Scooby having their breakup tiff when they get to the Mesozoic island doesn't work at all. It doesn't feel like it fits. It doesn't feel like it fits in general to those characters, but it really doesn't even feel like it fits in this movie.
It's funny because like, again, like the personalities of all the characters. I liked all the characters. I have no problem with any of the characterization. I honestly like a lot of the plot and scripting is the problem I have. Like the forced drama, like you have to have them break up because it's a movie and you have to have drama. I'm like, sure, but like I agree. Like I don't think it was executed well at all. And like you breaking up Scoob and Shaggy, like sure you got to do it, but like I did not feel like it was earned or felt real or anything.
And that's the thing is like you didn't have to do it. There are other organic ways to work around those problems, and like the script just didn't want to do the legwork to make that happen. Also, it is not a problem to do a movie that focuses more on Shaggy and Scooby apart from the Mystery Gang. It's been done before and it's worked fine. You could have had them just not be hanging out with the gang when this all started.
Yeah.
That would have been just fine.
I agree with all your points, and I want to add that for me, the characterizations are mostly there. Except for Velma. I had a real big problem with Velma, but I don't think the voices quite work for each character. I think there's something about the voices that feel like they're just not quite tuned to the character animations, and maybe I'm just being hypersensitive about it, but I feel like the voice directing just isn't there as strong as it could be. Ben?
I felt that too. The whole time, the only people who I think actually did a really good job voicing their characters in this movie are Mark Wahlberg, Ken Jeong, and Jason Isaacs, and of course Frank.
Real quickly, I think Jason Isaacs is the standout. I think he's great.
Yeah, and don't be wrong, Frank Welker.
Yeah,
and also don't get me wrong, Frank Welker as Scooby Doo, he's been the voice of Scoob for years, so that's awesome. But just everyone else, like Gina Rodriguez, Zac Efron as Fred, and I forget who voiced Daphne, they just felt out of place.
Amanda Seyfried.
Amanda Seyfried, thank you. They all just felt out of place. I don't know if it's because I'm just too ingrained with the original or like the newer, the classic voice
cast, yeah,
or at least the most recent cast of Scooby Doo, because at least they sound somewhat similar to the '60s cartoons that I grew up with.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the reason, but for some reason, I'm listening to Velma talk. I'm like, this doesn't feel like Velma. Daphne, okay, yeah, I could get Daphne trying to figure out. Shaggy and Scooby always find ways to get out of situations. I could figure that out too. It's like, okay, yeah, that fits.
Well, so it's not necessarily the characterizations that I have a problem with. It's just, and it's not even the voice actors themselves. It just feels like the voice directing isn't as strong as it should be.
Yeah.
I will say that specifically for Rodriguez as Velma, I don't understand that casting. She doesn't sound like Velma to me. She doesn't even sound like in the same vein as Velma. Again, the only thing that feels like Velma is that the words sound like things Velma would say.
Sure.
But the entire presentation of the character, I'm like, this isn't Velma. This isn't Velma at all. This isn't any version of Velma I've ever known.
Velma doesn't say Jinkies.
Whereas Efron and Seyfried both do feel like Fred and Daphne to me. Now, that being said, I would rather just have the actual voice actors doing this. I'd rather have Micucci, Welker,
Willard.
I would rather just have them, but that's not what happened.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, I wound up appreciating Will Forte's Shaggy. I don't love it, but I appreciate it because it helps that Forte, at least he made a comment about how he lay awake at night terrified about doing the role of Shaggy because he felt like he needed to pay tribute to Casey Kasem and Matthew Lillard. But he couldn't do an impression because he said if I was just going to go in there and try and sound like Matthew Lillard, then it should just be Matthew Lillard. That was his opinion. He's like, I shouldn't be doing it if I'm just going to sound like him. So I appreciate that he tried to make it his own, but still sound like Shaggy. That's hard, and I feel for him for that. But I do think that Efron and Seyfried and Forte, at least I felt like I heard them trying to emulate those characters.
Yeah. And the other thing that I wanted to bring up is that, and I understand why they chose Scooby-Doo to do this. But if you're going to do a larger Hanna-Barbera world, I don't think Scooby-Doo fits within the Hanna-Barbera lineage. I think they exist almost kind of apart of it, apart from it. You know, they don't deal with real monsters. They deal with real estate businessmen who
guys in masks.
Modern times have changed that, but yeah,
right. But like generally, they deal with real estate men. Trying to steal money from an abandoned amusement park or an abandoned airfield. Like it's kind of about real estate in a way, real estate bad guys. Like, I think the characters to do this with in a perfect world would be Johnny Quest. I think Johnny Quest is more suited for this type of role to expand into the larger Hanna-Barbera verse. They can more easily connect with the larger world. Now, I mean, like, I get it. Scooby-Doo is their most profitable franchise, so you're going to do it like that. But I just feel like it's almost like shoving a square brick in a round hole.
I don't totally agree because the thing is, I know why you're saying Johnny Quest. I like Johnny Quest too. I get it. It's a little too straight for things like Captain Caveman and Jabberjaw to be next to right off the gate, especially because Johnny Quest is not popular right now.
Sure.
It's not mainstream enough. You could even make more of an argument to me about either the Flintstones or the Jetsons coming through time travel because that at least has more mainstream play and wouldn't feel weird when juxtaposed up against characters like Captain Caveman. But Johnny Quest, that's hard. That's a hard left turn, especially to do in one film. So I don't know that I totally agree about the Johnny Quest stuff. I get why you're saying it. You're right about the fact that like it's a good base foundation to expand to the outer world, but the outer world is so cartoony in Hanna-Barbera, it almost feels like that's too grounded of an entry point.
But I can't see Scooby-Doo with Jabberjaw.
I can't.
I don't agree.
I understand the talking dog thing. I understand that, but like, to me, Jabberjaw, and I don't want to get into a major argument about this. I know myself. I can get into a larger thing about this, but to me, Jabberjaw is such a cartoon, whereas Scooby-Doo just has a talking dog, and like that's just the cartoon thing of it. So it's hard for me to see Scooby-Doo with the rest of the Hanna-Barbera. Like, I can't see Scooby-Doo talking to, I mean, not Scooby-Doo specifically, but I can't see Shaggy or Fred and Velma talking to McGilla Gorilla or Jabberjaw, and maybe I could see them going to Sea Lab 2020, but but things like that.
Scooby-Doo in my opinion is pretty in the middle. It's neutral level. Johnny Quest is too grounded. Jabberjaw is so silly. Yeah. But Scooby-Doo is platform middle, because Scooby-Doo has had things like The Reluctant Werewolf, where they did meet Dick Dastardly and have to do the wacky races. Like, these things have already happened. Like, they fit into that universe overall. Johnny Quest, outside of like comic books, has never really gone to the crossover of like, I'm going to meet Captain Caveman and Jabberjaw. That's not a thing that's been done. So I don't know that that's the right entry point for a film like this. All of that being said, I think that overall, the whole thing is I would have rather had just a good Scooby-Doo theatrical film, which, by the way, that's my biggest point about this, is this feels like another straight-to-DVD film. This doesn't feel like one I would go see in theaters. It doesn't feel like it's on that quality level outside of the animation.
Yeah.
Right. And that sucks. That's the part that's the most hampering of it, is I'm like, yeah, but this just feels like I could watch better written other straight-to-DVD Scooby-Doo properties, because it's happened. I could watch the animated Scooby-Doo Blue Falcon film and it would be better. Or the one where he meets Batman. Or the other one where he meets Batman.
Speaking of the Blue Falcon, I had no knowledge of him whatsoever. I knew Dynamite, but I didn't know Blue Falcon. I don't know how that makes sense. But I loved everything with Mark Wahlberg.
I did too.
Everything that's so weird. My favorite stuff about Scoob has nothing to do with Scoob. I think I just want the Hanna-Barbera universe, because like Scooby-Doo's cool, but like I thought Dick Dastardly was awesome and his motivation's great, and I love the Blue Falcon and his thing with his dad. He's trying to be a hero, but he's not a hero at heart. And like Ken Jeong, I didn't think Dynamite would be like he's the actual hero, like saving Blue Falcon from stuff. And like Ken Jeong is usually like not the straight man. He's usually the crazy guy, but he's the straight man.
Yeah,
I thought all that stuff worked really, really well.
And
so I agree.
Blue Falcon being the son of the original Blue Falcon was an angle that I really enjoyed. And again, like, I just wish the script had the balls to go for the Shaggy and Blue Falcon are the same right now. Let's just run with that comparison. Yeah. Let's actually make this, because this feels like Scooby-Doo and the gang get kidnapped into a Blue Falcon adventure that for some reason is against Dick Dastardly instead of a regular Blue Falcon villain, rather than it feeling like a cohesive connection being made between the characters where they flow into each other and they inform each other. And why does nobody care about seeing a dinosaur island all of a sudden? And why do like Blue Falcon and Scooby go, Scooby's got the scent of that skull, let's go off this direction, see you later? And Dee Dee and Dynamite are just like, I guess we just won't follow them because they need to get into this difficult case on their own, I suppose.
I love all of Blue Falcon's like support team, because like they're just supporting an idiot. Yeah. And like it's I thought that was a really cool.
I'm a big fan of Dynamite. I like so Blue Falcon and Dynamite are a pair, but I've never really cared for Blue Falcon. I really like Dynamite. So I was really excited. So Dynamite really delivered for me in this. I thought Ken Jeong did a really great job as Dynamite. And I really liked him in this movie. But I really quickly want to say again, Jason Isaacs as Dick Dastardly is, to me, the best thing in the whole movie.
Yeah,
he's really good.
I thought he's incredible. He is having so much fun. He's just chewing all the scenery. He's and it shows in every frame.
I also love Dick Dastardly's he's like, oh, I want to get the Skull Service so I can open up and get my treasure. I can get Muttley back. I can get Muttley back. Muttley was his treasure the whole time. I was like, it's just a guy trying to get his dog. I thought Muttley was dead. I thought he was dead and gone.
I for sure thought Muttley was dead.
And it's then always the guys Sorry, go on.
And then if we find out he was just trapped on the other side of the portal because he wasn't a descendant of Paredes, Alexander the Great's dog.
Oof. I don't like that.
But still, the fact that Dastardly is going through all these lengths just so we can get Muttley back, I was like, at the end of the movie, it's like, just let him get his dog back. I mean, yeah, he's a bad guy, but...
Simon Cowell cameo aside, I did appreciate the second mask gag.
Oh, yeah.
Where they take it off and it's like, oh, wait, no, it's actually Dick Dastardly. And Dick Dastardly's like, they never go for the second mask. I thought I had that.
Yeah.
This movie was surprisingly mature. I mean, like, a lot of kids' movies have, like, adult jokes, but, like, there were a lot of adult jokes in this movie that I thought were pretty good. And, like, there's just a scene where Dick Dastardly is just yelling, Dick, Dick, Dick. And it was like, really just happening in a kids movie right now, dude.
I caught that. I'm like, did they seriously not know?
Yeah.
There's
an alcoholic joke. Like there's some decent jokes in here. I'm like, man, just one more punch through of the script, man. You could have something real good here.
Yeah, Sparks is absolutely right. The biggest issue I feel with this movie is that it just feels like another direct-to-VOD Scooby-Doo movie.
Fun fact, this was originally going to be directed by Dax Shepard. And then he made Chips, and then Chips bombed in every single way, so they took him off the movie. This was directed by a guy who directs a lot of the straight-to-DVD Scooby-Doo movies.
Yeah.
So it kind of lost some of its like maybe Hollywood factor, and it kind of feels just more like straight-to-DVD thing, which who knows what could have been.
Yeah. I mean, there's potential and interest, at least from me, for a Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe. I mean, Future Quest was great, and I'd like to see more of that stuff. It's just this doesn't feel like anything special. This just feels like like I said, I watched Scooby-Doo Return to Zombie Island. It's just as good as that. And if you're just as good as your low-budget direct-to-DVD animated film, what do I care?
I think it's really telling that we're all really, really positive on everything that's not Scoob in a movie called Scoob.
Yeah.
That's like that. Like as much as like I like this movie probably more than everyone here, but at the end of the day, I like it for the stuff that's not about Scooby-Doo. Which is funny.
Well, because I'd watch a movie that's about this Blue Falcon, this Dynamite.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would do that. This Scoob gang, it's not that I wouldn't want to watch a movie with them. It's that I don't think they were given a fair shake to establish themselves.
Yeah.
Again, like I still feel like you should have just had a regular Scooby-Doo movie, then do this adventure.
Yeah.
Or something. Like, and have clues of the Hanna-Barbera universe being like, like nods and winks and all that it exists out there. But do a Scooby-Doo movie and then do the crazy stuff.
Dick Dastardly, his warship is so cool. And that is something straight out of Warhammer 40,000 with like the huge smoke plumes from behind him, like a giant spear in the front. Like
I also like the Blue Falcon ship.
Yeah, I thought like I think this movie looks great. I think the little minions, I hate minions. I'm not a fan of minions. I'm not a big fan of Despicable Me. This is the Despicable Me I want. It's Dick Dastardly and his little bowling pin monsters. That's what I want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought those were cute.
I like how the Dustbuster one has a huge crush on Daphne.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
It's not all bad. There's a lot of love for the Hanna-Barbera canon as a whole. They keep so many original sound effects.
I love that. Yeah.
Dick Dastardly is quintessentially written to be Dick Dastardly, and I really feel that.
Yes.
He lays out his jokes hardcore, and that's credit to Jason Isaacs, but it's also credit to the way he's written.
Yeah.
He feels like he's transported just out of the old cartoons.
Yes.
Probably more so than any other character in the movie.
Man,
he has that part where he delivers the whole you are to remain silent in the court of Claw, and the Claw comes out and grabs the mystery machine. I'm like, dang, that is Dick Dastardly.
Yep.
To the T. Holy crap.
To go back to what you were saying about you're making it, we should have just made a Scooby-Doo movie with hints to the outside world. I would have even been like, hey, okay, let's say you wanted to do a Scooby-Doo movie, but maybe they need to solve a mystery in C-Lab 2020. Like, they have to go down to the C-Lab to solve a dude in a mask, and that's your Scooby-Doo movie, and that's your tie to the larger universe. You get a little bit there, but it's not the major crux. It's just a situation. It's just a location.
History in another Hanna-Barbera property that brought the gang there, rather than another Hanna-Barbera property coming and kidnapping the Scooby gang.
Yeah,
to bring it to another Hanna-Barbera place.
Yeah,
yeah.
Or two, or three. Yeah. Captain Caveman was good.
That's fine.
I don't feel like he needed to be in the movie, but he was good.
I was expecting the Flintstones, really.
I like this. Those are nice wheels. Also, what are wheels?
That's good. That was good.
I mean, honestly,
but that's the thing about Captain Caveman. Real quickly, Ben, I want to say Captain Caveman. Dick Dashley feels like Dick Dashley. Captain Caveman felt like Tracy Morgan. Is it Morgan?
Morgan.
Morgan. It just feels like Tracy Morgan because when you hire Tracy Morgan, you hire him to be Tracy Morgan.
I don't think that's as problematic because I don't think Captain Caveman is a character who has a lot to serve the modern audience without being altered.
True. He's more talkative in this than he has been.
That's what I mean. Is like you kind of needed to reinvent his character, so that didn't bother me. Though I agree with you that it is just Tracy Morgan playing that, but I don't mind it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ben.
I was gonna say once we got to the Mesozoic Island, I was hoping for some sort of Flintstones cameo, but I didn't get it.
No, they're in the past.
Yeah.
They're dead.
Long dead.
Long dead.
They're the oil that fuels the Falcon.
Don't worry, we'll get the Jetsons to come back and pick up Birdman. We'll get the Jetsons to come back and pick up Birdman, and then they'll go back in time to the Flintstones. That'll be your next.
I always forget that Harvey Birdman and Space Ghost Coast to Coast are Hanna-Barbera properties. I keep forgetting that.
Well, no, Harvey Birdman and Space Ghost Coast to Coast are not Hanna-Barbera properties. Space Ghost and Birdman are.
Yeah. Those are parody shows using those characters.
Okay.
I just seeing that big warship in like the Falcon. What's the Falcon? It's called Blue Falcon. What's the thing called? The ship.
The Falconator.
The Falconeer. Who knows?
I don't know.
It just makes me like, oh man, we're one step closer to Wacky Racers because that's the Hanna-Barbera thing I love. I love Wacky Racers. I don't know anything about all those characters. I just love watching them race in wacky cars.
Sure.
I want that.
Well, if we think about it, the end credits, we kind of got it. Because if you guys watch the end credits, we see Jabberjaw, we see Blue Falcon, we see Muttley breaking into the cell to get Dick Dashley out.
We see Professor Quest.
Yeah, we see Quest Labs. So it's like we get all this, like, I guess, quote unquote connective tissue. I don't know what it. I don't know what
it will be in the next crossover.
Don't you freaking dare,
Godzuki!
Don't say that name.
Manila.
Godzuki.
Don't you say that name.
Magic the Gathering should make a Godzuki card. Just saying.
They should not make a Godzuki card. They should not.
Phase 2.
They got a Baby Godzilla card. That's all we need. We don't need Godzuki. Don't bring in that trash.
There's some solid moments. One I wanted to highlight is that it always really works for me in Scooby-Doo when they do a bit where Shaggy and Scooby get just enough ahead of the villain to don a disguise and pretend to be something else and trick them. Mm-hmm. And they do that at the bowling alley with the minions where they're like, what's your order? And they change into the baby modes that they have.
Yeah.
I wish there had been more of like that spirit of Scooby-Doo present in the movie. And just
There's no door gag.
Huh?
There's no door gag.
There isn't,
kind of they do it with Cerberus when they're like they're doing they're facing Cerberus even though they're terrified in their own special way, and it's them like running back and forth. There's no doors, but it's them running
chariot.
Different sides of the frame.
They're going across on a chariot.
I understand. Yeah. I'm a bit. My favorite bits in Scooby-Doo are always the door gags. Even in a really mediocre film, I'm hysterical. So I would have liked more of a presence from the door gag.
Sure. I feel like we've covered a lot of it. I'm good.
Yeah, I think I'm good as well. Shall we get final thoughts and rating?
Oh, sorry. One last thing. Boy, did I not need the forced BS of Shaggy will be locked on the other side forever. Nah, psych. I'm just kidding.
Oh God.
Yeah, I didn't need that either.
Yeah, they're definitely going to kill Shaggy.
So much. Like
here's the thing. I want to real quickly. Here's the thing. If they wanted to be like this will be the last Scooby-Doo movie, and Shaggy or Scooby were behind there, and that's gone. They're gone, and that's how we remove Scooby-Doo from the franchise while building into a new thing. While unrealistic, I kind of applaud them for the balls to do that.
I'd applaud them for the balls, but I'd be like, you can't have a movie about Scoob and then do that and not have had the movie be more about Scooby-Doo.
That's true.
It's like Superman in your.
I'll use that as your final thoughts. So rate it.
I kind of wanted to give a little bit more summation to my final thoughts.
Give us a little more.
I wholeheartedly just feel like there was a solid foundational idea of how they could have done this, but I feel like it gets way too mired in we want to set up a cinematic universe rather than just telling a good story with the Scooby-Doo characters. Fortunately, it's able to do that pretty well with the others, like Blue Falcon, his team, Dick Dastardly, but it's a shame that the Scooby-Doo characters pay the price for their character introductions and their development. The animation is really nice. I like it a lot. I think it's really good. I think on a whole, the voice cast does their best. And in some cases that really excels. And in some cases that's just kind of all right. And you're kind of like, why don't you have the other people who have been doing this for forever? Overall, I'm more excited to see more Hanna-Barbera related things. I don't even know if I'm necessarily there. I feel like I just want to see a Blue Falcon Dynamite related thing. I don't know if I really want to see more of these other things yet, because I want them to put the work into it, and it just feels like on a whole it's going to be a shallow grab for that cinematic universe good that every other studio has failed at doing. I'd rather see the legacy of Scooby-Doo in theaters be a little bit better, so I'd rather see a good Scooby-Doo movie again. That's kind of where I sit. I give it a 6.
Yeah. Ryan?
Yeah, I liked it. I'm probably not going to watch it ever again. I'd give it a solid 7.5. If you just want to watch like a decent animated movie, and there's worse ones to watch. This one's charming.
Ben?
There were times when I was watching this, I was like, hey, they're really trying to bring back the old classic magic of Scooby-Doo, and I really appreciate it. And there are other times where I can see the plot 10 miles away, and we're only at the 30-minute mark of the film, and I knew exactly what was going to happen. And those parts, I hated it. There are performances I loved, there are performances I did not need, and for me, it just did not click. And like we said earlier, it's a Scooby-Doo movie, but the best parts of it are about Scooby-Doo, and you come here for the Scooby-Doo, and that's not the best part. So to me, that's total wash. 5.5.
Yeah, I think Sparks and I are on the same page with this one for the most part. I'll only add that, I just wish we got a better Scooby-Doo movie. I like Scooby-Doo a lot, and I have not been keeping up with the more recent shows as much as I wish I had. So the only thing I do really watch are some of the movies, and the ones I've seen have just been disappointing. That said, I really like Jason Isaacs. I really do. I thought he was a lot of fun. So I give it a 6, a solid 6. I think it's okay. I doubt I'd return to it.
I got to give it up to Mark Wahlberg, for real, because like he's someone who usually is kind of doing the same thing, and he's kind of just doing that, but with a higher tone, a higher pitched voice. But I found him really charming in this movie, most of his live action stuff. This is really funny.
I did too.
Especially when Shaggy is like criticizing his suit. It's like, it's called an upgrade. It's like, but there's no scales. These are supposed to be feathers.
Yeah,
there was so much. There was so much room to explore the fact that Shaggy and Scooby are the scaredy cats of the gang, and he's afraid.
Yeah,
and they just did nothing with it.
There's literally
did nothing with it.
It's at the very end of the movie. He has like one line, like, "This is my hero moment," and then like, "Oh, there it is."
Yeah, but I mean, it's not even with Shaggy and Scooby.
Yeah,
it's with Dynamite.
Yeah,
but I mean, like that parallel was never addressed. The parallel that was addressed was Shaggy and Blue Falcon both feeling like they're the unnecessary part of the group, but not the fact that they're scaredy cats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into our book club. Ryan, take it away.
I'm taking it away, just like Scarlet Witch takes away mutant powers. Hey guys, we got Avengers: The Children's Crusade, written by Alan Heinberg, art by Jim Chung. Boy, you guys, after the ruckus that was the Secret Invasion, I was feeling more Marvel because I like me some Marvel. So I picked a book that came out 5 years after Secret Invasion. 5 years? Yeah, like a couple years. And it's about the aftermath of Scarlet Witch, but it focuses on the Young Avengers. I thought about doing just the Young Avengers title first before doing this, but after doing Secret Invasion, I feel it wasn't necessary. You can get as much as you need in this book. So,
do you mean to say House of M?
What did I? Secret
Invasion.
Oh my god, I'm thinking of House of M.
I was going to say.
Sorry, yes.
I don't remember reading Secret Invasion recently.
Neither do I.
Funny enough, Brandon, I picked Secret Invasion. That was months ago.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, it was. House of M, thank you. Scarlet Witch took away mutant powers. So now we're in the aftermath of that. We got the Young Avengers, 2 of which are apparently maybe Scarlet Witch's kids. You got Tommy and you got Billy, and it's Wicked and Speed, and they look like Quicksilver times 2. But one has brown hair and he's a magic man. So they're like, hey, let's go find my mom. And hilarity ensues. And Dr. Doom kidnaps and does things to people. I want to know what you guys think about Avengers Children's Crusade.
This is definitely a roller coaster in a good way. I really, because at first it's the Young Avengers trying to find Scarlet Witch because Wiccan thinks that she is his mom and he has the soul of one of her kids because her kids died. So and Emma is in the middle of the camera.
Kitty time.
Hi, Emma. Yeah, Emma just went in front of the camera, babe.
I wanted to bounce off of Ben. I found this book to be rather unpredictable because at the end of every issue, they throw another storytelling device at you. Mm-hmm. It would just be like all of a sudden, like, no, this is now a story about time travel.
Heck yeah, baby Iron Lad, King of the Conqueror.
At first it's a search and rescue, then it's time travel, then it's
and Wolverine is really murder happy.
Wolverine wants to murder shit.
He's just like, we're gonna kill Scarlet Witch, and you know what? We should kill Wiccan too.
Yeah. He is ready to. He's like stick. Let's just do it. There's no other way to fix this. Let's just end them right here and there. And then Doom gets all this, and then it's revealed that Doom has Scarlet Witch, but she lost her memory, and he's gonna marry her. And then all of a sudden, he gets all these like godlike powers. He's like, I will save you, and people are like, screw you, you're Doom. We're not gonna go under your rule. And he's like, I could raise the dead. I could give the mutants the powers back. You just have to do what I say. It's gonna be fine. And then people are like, no.
He's Dr. Doom about it.
Yeah, he's Dr. Doom.
Yeah. And
then they kick his ass.
I like this book. Alan Heinberg doesn't write a lot of comic books. And I think he should write more. Because I think he does characterization really well for a lot of these characters. The stuff he does with Captain America, I think is really good. There's a thing where Wiccan, Captain America is going to take Wiccan somewhere, and Wiccan's like, is it okay if I make you fly? Thinking it's a problem. And Captain America's like, son, that's so much cooler than riding on Tony Stark's boots. Like, come on, baby, let's magic me up. I love magic. And Captain America is such an ally to all the people in this book every time. But Wolverine just wants to kill Scarlet Witch because he's so bloodthirsty. He's a bloodthirsty.
And also, even when the X-Men show up, they want Scarlet Witch dead too because she wiped out 1 million mutants.
And you know what? I want to say, like, it doesn't feel forced that all the mutants would be on this line because, like, yeah, she destroyed she destroyed millions of people's lives.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Literally, like weeks after the Genoshan genocide, where 16 million people were murdered, like weeks, months after this, maybe even a year, not much time, she depowers all of mutants. So, like, mutants are having a tough time. It's understandable Wolverine's a little pissed.
And like all the mutants are, like Emma Frost and things. But I did appreciate that Magneto kind of has the stance of like, I just want to know where she is.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to kill her.
I wanted to say, because we were talking about like the Dark Knight stuff earlier, this is a comic that I felt throughout every character. I felt like I got where they were, how they were involved, their whole arc for the piece. Every single character that was introduced, I'm like, I get where you're at. I'm following you. I'm on it. This was very well fleshed out.
Yeah, I rereading it again because like I know you guys don't have much Young Avengers history. The very first page is a splash page.
Actually, I have the Young Avengers titles that take place right after House of M, leading into this.
Proud of you. You read them?
Mm-hmm.
Proud of you. I forgot where I was going because I'm so proud of you.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Crap. That's okay. I just think this book. I think it is really, really well made for people who don't know anything about any of these characters. Like I said, like the first page is just a splash page of all the characters and who they are. You don't need to know anything about
Avengers.
Yeah, you don't need to know anything about Iron Lad to know he's from the future and he turns into King the Conqueror because they give you just enough lines to know like how he becomes that. And man, at the end when he has to choose between like going into the future to save Cassie or to stay here, and he's like, "This is the moment you become King the Conqueror." And he's like, no, I'm going to be better than King the Conqueror, and vanishes. And I'm like, this is how a supervillain's born. It's so good. Uh-huh. Oh my God, guys, it's so good. Because the history of Iron Lad and this whole thing, the Avengers have been through so much shit with Scarlet Witch. And then he brings them back to the past where there's reliving the same thing with Scott Lang. And then Cassie ends up dying instead. It's like, there's so many plot threads going on that are from the previous events.
Cassie's death is horrible.
It's good, man.
Just Scott is like, no, wait, guys, I'm okay. What?
Yeah.
And like, Cassie brought back Scott from the past, just to see his daughter die.
Yeah,
and he's so proud of her that she's a superhero. Oh my God.
Yeah, I took a picture of it, but I remember it's like Scott says like, you stole one of my suits, and she's like, well, you had some extra pin particles. He's like, I'm not mad. You're a superhero, honey. I'm proud of you. And it's like,
yeah,
and
like she's telling us, so Dad, I've been borrowing, and by borrowing I mean stealing. Is that okay? He's like, my daughter's a superhero. This is awesome.
It's great.
This is like the best day ever.
I think I only have one real issue with this book is it does a massive retcon to Scarlet Witch to say that Doctor Doom is the reason behind the events of House of M. I wouldn't have a problem with that if it wasn't done in literally like one line.
Do they follow up on that later?
Not really.
Okay. So can I say like the way I interpreted it was him under the madness of the life force saying it? But it's not true. It's
not true. No, it is Wikipedia. Like Doctor Doom was behind the events of House of M. But the problem is it is not given enough reason. It's just like I've been the puppet master the whole time. But why? Because he wanted her power. But it's a really forced retcon to explain how Doctor Doom got this power, because he's actually been working with her from the beginning, but you don't see enough of that for me to believe that.
Sure. See, like my reading was that he was speaking out of the madness of being under the power of the Force.
Yeah.
And not that that's the truth.
But we know it's the truth because there's a scene with Wiccan and he's talking to Scarlet Witch. He's like, wait, what do you mean since the beginning? And he's like, he's been helping me since the beginning, since before this.
No, I get that. I believe that she went there to try and get his help with trying to revive her kids.
Yes.
But not that he, orchestrated the events of House of M. He was part of giving her the Force and everything.
Yes.
But, I feel like he's lying about, it was his intentions.
Okay. If that's true, then it's also still
That
murky.
was my reading. That was my reading.
That's also still murky because it is... in canon, quote unquote canon, Doctor Doom's the reason behind House of M, like his machinations or whatever.
Right, and I think all the heroes start to treat it that way because it makes them feel better about the Scarlet Witch.
Yes.
Look, this is me postulating a lot on what I read about it.
It's more so about the fact that how I read it is that Doctor Doom, while might not have known that House of M was going to happen, he knew that Scarlet Witch would become unstable, and he wanted to use that unstable power for himself.
Okay.
That's part of it, and the other part of it that I'm reading is that when he's coming down from it at the end of the book, and he's still got some of that leftover force, and he's withering it out, he's either lying to because he's deranged in the moment, or he's lying to protect her because he really cared about her.
That could be it, yeah.
And that was my reading, is that it's all falsehoods, because even after he's gone, everyone's like, there's no way to prove that Dr. Doom was behind it. He's like, even if he was, Scott's saying, even if he was, it doesn't change anything.
So
that's why I'm that's why I never read it that way. I read it as either Doom is crazy or Doom's doing it to give her an out.
Okay, I like that reading. Okay, yeah.
Because he was going to marry her, and there's an amount of how much do you believe that Doom maybe loved her?
I 100% believe that, because if Doctor Doom is one thing, it's passionate. Because if that man is a man about passion.
That's my reading too. Is that in the moment he does love her, and so he's saying it to give her the out, to protect her, to let her have the opportunity to be safe from the Avengers and X-Men.
Okay, and then the power goes to his head, as it obviously would.
Yeah, because I took it as she still did it. It was still, she had that power, and Wiccan brought up a good point. It's you went from using magic to being able to warp realities.
Yeah,
how did that jump happen? That doesn't make any sense. And I appreciated the idea that for years I knew Scarlet Witch as the power to warp reality, but whenever I read her, she just knows magic.
Yeah,
I was confused about how did she get the power? Is that just something they don't address anymore? But I appreciate the explanation that she had the Force in her and it drove her insane.
Yeah, it's almost it's called the Life Force. It's almost like a Phoenix Force type of energy. Yeah. Another reason I wanted to pick this book is because the Young Avengers are going to be appearing in our films and TV shows in the next couple of years. We know the twins are at least referenced and seen in WandaVision. You see their baby cradles and you see like baby stuff. So babies are happening, twins are happening. It's happening. If they age up in the show, is a different story. But you guys know how excited for Empire I am, and you guys finally know about Hulkling. Hulkling is a half Skrull, half Shi'ar, and now he's going to be the rightful ruler of the universe. But that's the next big Marvel event whenever that comes out. I'm really excited for the future of that character, both in comics and live action. I think that'd be a really cool character to have. Plus, I just want more teenage heroes. I love teen heroes. That's why I picked this book.
I think it is entirely likely that, real quick, I want to talk about Patriot after I say this, but I think that is entirely likely the reason why they age up Cassie in Endgame is to lead her into a Young Avengers. It's to make her stature faster. But I want to talk about Patriot. I've known about Patriot. I know who Patriot is. He's the son of the original Captain America.
Grandson.
He's the grandson of the original Captain America. I love that story. I'd love to see him in a movie. And we're talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier has potentially cast that character, that original Captain America.
Yeah.
And I think that that'd be a great place to introduce Patriot as well.
So,
I think it'd be really cool.
This was not in the collection you guys had, but this is a page from the Young Avengers book. So you got Stinger, who is an older Cassie. You got Isaiah as Captain America. You got Hawkeye. You got
this is like an epilogue issue.
This is like the future. You got the Vision, and you got Hulkling as Captain Marvel.
I'd love to read that.
Yeah, I forgot where Stinger has actually been introduced like 10 years ago. Before
Can you pass
now.
it to me real quick?
I'm
going to tell you. It's so you can read Avengers: The Children's Crusade, Young Avengers #1, and then there's also material from Uncanny X-Men number 526 in here that shows Magneto before he appeared in the book.
Yeah, I love
that collection.
I love these Young Avengers. And after rereading this, I'm like, man, we need another Young Avengers book. Like all of these characters are basically missing, except for in Strike Force, which is a weird side book that has like Blade and Hellstrom. So like I want all these characters back. I think Iron Lad is a really awesome character. And like what happens when a young man is like destined to become a supervillain? Like how do you travel?
I've always heard really good things about the Young Avengers, and I feel like this is what the Champions book tries to emulate.
Yes, 100%.
And I don't think the Champions book does it as well.
No. Yeah. This also, I really appreciate, but this was being very LGBT friendly 10 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah. And Young Avengers has been around for almost 15 years. And like Alan Heinberg specifically wanted a book that had prominently gay characters in it. And Marvel for a long time was saying no. And then he finally was allowed to do this book. And there's multiple gay characters in this book.
Yeah.
And it continues in more volumes as well.
I really like the current young heroes. I like Miss Marvel and Spider-Gwen and Miles Morales. I think they're all really good characters. Viv. But I don't think outside of Miss Marvel and Miles Morales, I don't think a lot of them hold a candle to Patriot and Hawkeye and Stature. And I think those were much more well-defined characters than the young characters we have now, because I think the young characters that we have now are trying desperately to be those characters without being those characters, you know?
Because like this book's all about there's that Children of the Atom book. Those are all X-Men fanatics. Like this book, these are all fans of the Avengers who also happen to have superpowers and stuff. So yeah, like I forgot just how much I really enjoyed this part of the universe. Of like, yeah, teenagers are also heroes. And like I've just been on Marvel Unlimited just checking all this out again, and I'm glad you guys liked it. I think this book's real good.
Yeah, I'd like to get into more Young Avengers. I think I might try and pick up that old series.
I think all the characters are really well represented. This is 9 issues.
Yeah.
And it's a really solid 9 issues
really
throughout.
Is, yeah.
Really well done, and the art is exceptional.
Dude, this is 10 years ago, Jim Chung, and he's doing Justice League now. His art, he's been incredible his entire career. Like this book is sensationally beautiful. Like, man,
when I first saw that it was 9 issues, when I first started reading it, I was like, oh man, here we go. But it really blew by. It was really paced. It was paced really nicely. Well, every second issue, like I talked about, like the end of an issue would always tease like the direction of the next issue, because the story would kind of try to go in unpredictable ways. The story would be a search and rescue, and then it would be a major epic, and then it would be time travel, and then like it's kept throwing different things at you, and it never once felt contrived, like it was going in a way that they didn't wholeheartedly know that the story was supposed to go from the beginning. Yeah.
It's like it's what good comic books do. It's great cliffhangers where it makes you interested. Like the end of issue 1, oh my god, Magneto shows up saying that these are his grandkids. What is that about? The next issue, oh my god, Dr. Doom has a Scarlet Witch. Wait, they're getting married.
The Scarlet Witch is a Doom bot?
Scarlet Witch is every issue ends. You're like, well, now I have to read the next issue. Damn.
A lesser book, and I keep going to the time travel because introducing time travel so late in your non-time travel story is tricky. Yes. And I think that a lesser story would have handled it much more poorly.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ben.
No, I was gonna say once we got to Wiccan found Scarlet Witch in Castle Doom in Latveria, and she's like, "Oh, I'm getting married tomorrow." To who? And then you see Doom, it's to me, and then it's like to be continued. It's like, this is bonkers. Every time we got to the last issue of a book or the last page of a book, I was like, I need to find out what happens. I need to keep reading. I want to know what's going to happen. Like Doom is marrying Scarlet Witch. I've only known Doom to have an eye for Sue Storm. Now he wants to marry Scarlet Witch. Alrighty then.
Great panel. So this is after they found out everything about Doom, and it's there it is. It's Magneto and him saying like, she was with you this whole time, and Quicksilver's like, not of her free will, I assure you. And Doom's like, I was trying to save her from you. And I'm like, oh, Doom, you really do care. Oh, yep. Too bad you got to be a tyrant.
All right. Anything else you guys want to add, or should we get out of here?
I thought this was a really good follow-up to House of M and way to rework the Scarlet Witch back. And usually when you get retcon stuff like this, or to bring back Scott Lang, it's not usually handled quite this well. And I thought this was really well done.
Well, everyone that Scarlet Witch killed is alive at the end of this book.
Man, there's that image. Victor, like, I can bring back the dead, and it's Jean Grey and it's Warpath.
That's not true. The original Vision is still dead. Oh,
you're right, and the new Vision is now dead.
Yes, yeah.
But Scarlet Witch killed the original, and he's still dead.
Yes, until he's not anymore.
I know, but I mean in this book.
Yeah, because comic books. Yeah. I love this era of Marvel. Like, I'm so glad to be continuously just going back. This is really, really good character stuff. I hope these guys show up in more modern comic books.
Yeah. Okay. That'll do it. Next week, we're going to skip the book club because we are doing our famous compare and contrast episodes, where we are going to compare the first episode of the TV series Stargirl, airing on the CW and the DC Universe, with Stars and Stripes, the first volume of Stars and Stripes, which is the first appearance of Stargirl.
Robot Man.
So remember, it's the first arc of Stars and Stripes compared to the first episode of Stargirl. Okay. That'll do it. By the way, did you guys know that there's a Purge movie coming out in July?
Oh, you know what? We didn't bring it up on the news, but USA canceled The Purge.
I did do that.
They announced that they canceled the Purge series, and they canceled Treadstone.
Yeah, they canceled Treadstone.
USA made an announcement that they are moving away from scripted television.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, USA is moving away from scripted television as a whole.
I really hope The Purge gets somewhere, because that show's good.
I don't know if that's just because of the coronavirus, so for now, or if that's permanent, but that's what they said, is that they're canceling them and they're moving away from scripted shows.
Wow.
That's such a bummer. That's such a good show.
But what's nice about it is that at least the Purge show is a closed loop, so it's not like we're left hanging on, oh no, we got to wait for the next season to find out what happened to blah, blah, blah.
Oh, like CW shows and stuff?
Right, because it's, it's one Purge night in a season.
Yeah.
So it's nice that you kind of just get 2 extra long Purge movies. We just have to watch that second season.
Yeah.
There's a movie, the newest movie, The Forever Purge, was supposed to come out in July, but I guess it's not anymore. That was going to be the last Purge movie.
It's called The Forever Purge?
Called The Forever Purge.
Coming out in July? They never even dropped a trailer.
That's true. Wow.
Okay. And that no longer has a release date now, so, Hey.
Right.
All right, so next week, Stargirl, Stars and Stripes. Thank you to everyone who listens. Guys, thank you to everyone who's watching us on YouTube. If you like this episode on YouTube, please click like and subscribe. Check out our other shows on YouTube. We have a Fake Nerd Watch series on YouTube, where we talk about shows like Swamp Thing, we talked about up top. We talk about, I always forget what we talk about. Mandalorian.
Stranger Things.
Watchmen. Tons of stuff. Basement Arcade, we also have a series where we go through some video games. Currently going through Mortal Kombat 9.
Newest episode will be up by the time people check this out.
Cool. Newest episode up now. We also have a Funko affiliate link. You can click the link in the description of this video, of this episode, and use promo code SHOP10 for 10% off your purchase. Check out those new X-Men movie Funko Pops. I really like that Magneto and Xavier. I might pick those up.
Yeah, they're good.
That Beast and Nightcrawler were also really good.
Yeah.
We also have a Patreon and we have a TeePublic. You can check those out, both the link in the description, or you can find us on our website, fakenerdpodcast.com. Again, all those links are in the description below. Thank you to everyone who listens. Thank you to everyone who watches. We greatly appreciate all your support throughout this time. Thank you to Jeremy Vellucci, who does our theme music and our intro music. If you're listening to this not on the live show, if you're just listening to us on the iTunes feed, you'll listen to that, listen to those stuff. You can find him at Jeremy Vellucci Keyboards. You can find his show, Suburban Proctologist, on iTunes. He also has a YouTube page now. Fun fact. Suburban Proctologist. You can find his show on Facebook.com/Suburban Proctologist Official, Instagram @SuckPop Podcast. Mike Matola, thank you so much, Mike Matola, for being so cool. Speaking of Mike Matola, Mainframe Comic-Con's coming back in 2 weeks.
Another one.
It's awfully soon.
It is.
Yeah.
So check that out when that drops. Mike Matola, thank you so much. You can find him at Mike Matola on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you to everyone who listens. We greatly appreciate it. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I said that 14 times right now. I'm sorry. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all at Fake Nerd Podcast, fakenerdguys@gmail.com. If that's getting in touch with us personally, I'm at BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. Sparks.
You can find me checking out classic old Scooby-Doo movies on Instagram and Twitter at SparksWitty, SPARKZ Witty.
Ben, shake my hand, Ben. I'm right here.
Nope, wrong way. There we go. It's reversed. It's.
No, I know.
You can find me on the internet at Instagram and Twitter at BenMag27. You can also find me writing about old school video games at oldschoolgamermagazine.com.
Ryan.
You can find me at DJ Tony Snark everywhere. You can find me streaming on my super, super cool new computer at DJ Tony Snark 616, Twitch or YouTube. Thanks. Love you.
Subscribe to us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, iHeartRadio. Rate and review wherever you get us. We greatly appreciate it. Until next week, guys, stay fake nerds.
Zoinks!